Crunchyroll, your source for everything anime, is bringing the best of Japanese animation and pop culture to Santa Clara, California, August 25th through the 27th. Hardcore and casual fans alike will find hundreds of exhibits, exclusive merchandise and screenings, roundtable panels, the cosplay masquerade, autograph signings, and guest appearances by some of the biggest personalities in the US and Japan. Early bird tickets are still available online at crunchyrollexpo.com, but prices go up at the gate. Save $5 off weekend tickets with the code BOMBCAST. Go to crunchyrollexpo.com and enter the code BOMBCAST at checkout to get your weekend tickets today.
Hey, what up? It's Tuesday.
Hello!
It's August the 22nd.
It is!
It's 2017.
It might as well be.
It's like plus 24 hours since our horrifying eldritch cosmological event
Yeah.
passed over us.
Glad you guys made it through.
We made it through the eclipse relatively unscathed.
Did it get dark for anybody? Like, it was just cloudy.
Yeah, it was
out of my place.
yeah.
foggy.
It was just like foggy and then like dimmer than usual, but it's always pretty dark.
Bay Area had other ideas about eclipse watching.
Yeah, it was
yesterday.
like, hey, fucking
You don't get any sun at all.
go to work.
Yep.
Yeah, how about that? No sun, period. Yeah.
Fucking thumbing its nose at us.
Yeah, like we were having our weekly meeting and like I'm sitting in front of my webcam talking to Vinny out in New York and all them, and then I look behind me and go, I guess it's a little darker, I guess. I don't know, for a little bit.
Yeah.
My mom bought glasses and she showed me and she's like, I don't get how they work. And I looked at them and I realized they were like lenses on over protecting the eyes. And she's like, I couldn't see anything. And I was like, you have to pull these off.
Aw.
Carl the Fog thumbing his nose at us.
Sure. At least she
guy
didn't
sucks.
blow her eyes up.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have his own Twitter or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that? Where did that come from?
Where I don't know.
Carl the Fog.
Carl.
It's
I think
relatively
it's just
new.
the Twitter account started
Oh.
that, right?
Yeah.
It was, they decided to name the fog,
Okay.
and then
I assumed it was just some like Bay Area institution or something.
the guy.
I think it was what was it called? There was like a local publication, internet Bay Area publication that has since been defunct, but I think they were a big proponent of Carl the Fog. Don't know how I feel about giving some rando the rights to running the
Naming
Fog
rights.
account for the Bay Area.
Start another fog account.
What's a good name for Fog?
Barry.
Seize control.
Bury the fog.
Bury the
Isn't
fog.
that- It's like Barry Bonds.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like our Fog's on steroids.
Mhm, that's right. It's super fog. There's an asterisk next to this fog. Fucking strike it from the record books. It's gonna make you hate all other fog forever because it ruined the rules of fog.
Look, all the fogs in every city were on steroids at that time. It doesn't matter.
No, I know. Yeah. What do you think? Fucking
Anchorage.
Fog McGuire was keeping it straight.
Mist McGuire.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Dark McGuire. That's
Wrong.
That's my rap name.
Yeah. Okay.
Sammy Snoza.
No.
Um,
Dank Thomas. No.
Dare Rain Jeter.
Yeah.
That's
Daryl Strawberry. Am I right? Huh? Fog Carew. No. All right. I can't.
so deeper baseball cuts than I can keep up with.
Well, fine. Yeah. So I don't know. The eclipse was kind of a big nothing. I knew a lot of people that like drove away from here to go
to like
see it.
Oregon.
Yeah. Like I have some family up there, and they were like, "Yeah, there's like a gas shortage. Like there's no water in the stores because all these fuckers descended upon this town of 6,000 people."
There was some weekend festival up there
Yeah,
around this.
Yeah. I don't know. A guy I went to high school with drove to like Wyoming or something to see it, which seemed like a further place to go, but Oregon sounds like it was just a fucking nightmare, so maybe that was okay.
Yeah.
But then there's like another one in
7
like
years.
7 years or
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
So
Not anywhere near
that's
here
all?
though.
Okay.
You'd have to go to like the southeast to see that one.
okay.
I think it was going across like Florida, something like that.
I don't want to go to Florida to watch an eclipse.
Yeah,
I don't want to go to Florida.
I barely wanted to walk out my front door to watch it. So,
and I mean, you couldn't have anyway.
tall
So,
order, yes.
so there you go.
Yeah.
I originally was like psyched. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I want to check out like what kind of dark rituals could we perform.
yeah.
During
how many
this.
sacrifices can you fit into 2 hours?
A lot, as it turns out.
Yeah. What are you
Especially if I'm not stopping to look up at the sky
Yeah.
because there's nothing up there anyway. I'm just taking it on, faith that there's something going on. And
What are you gonna draw your pentagram out of?
Oh, it's just normal, like blood.
Okay,
Yeah. Animal blood, my
Sure.
blood,
Yeah.
in a mix.
Yeah.
It's kind of a whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's how my skin stays so soft.
I sacrificed half a pepperoni pizza during the eclipse.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
At 10 a.m. It's a good half a pizza time for sure.
It was the leftover half
Yeah.
a pizza from the previous night. So
Okay.
Cold eclipse pizza.
I support that 1,000%.
Yeah, that happened.
It did.
Now
Yeah.
we're here.
Now we're here.
It's back to normal life.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Bleh.
All right.
What's new?
Oh, fucking, I don't know. Just kind of playing some games, kind of looking at the news and going, bleh.
Yeah,
And then looking at the video game news and going, eh.
not much better.
Yeah. The video game news is worlds better by comparison because it's not active anyway. So yeah, it's I played about 5 hours of Agents of Mayhem.
Review now on the site.
Yes. Dan, there's a
saw.
review from Dan up on the site. That game is impressive in how off the mark it is. It's like weirdly. I don't know what game they were trying to make. That's the more I play of Agents of Mayhem, which is ostensibly an open world game from the makers of Saints Row. The more I wonder what game they had in their head when they started this project.
Probably an actual multiplayer game.
Yeah. Like they built this cast of like 12 or 13 playable characters, whatever it is, and you pick them in squads of 3.
Can you make any squad you want?
Yeah.
It's not sets of 3.
No,
Can you have 3 Johnny Gats?
No.
Good.
Though I initially thought like, I wonder if you could hack the game to just have 3 Johnny Gats.
Wait, is he one of the playable characters?
Yeah. It's
what?
a pre-order bonus.
Ah.
Also,
thought he just showed
Pierce
up.
of the Saints is also
A playable
in a
character.
And
in there as a playable
Oleg?
character. Oleg is in there somewhere too. Yeah, I don't know.
Keith Richards?
No Keith Richards, no Keith David.
So is this
David,
thing
that's-
is this thing just like very directly overtly connected to the Saints Row universe, or is those guys just show up?
I mean,
out,
they're
as
wearing the Saints logo,
Okay. But I mean, is there-
futuristic.
Right.
It's
But do
Old
they just-
Tor is mentioned the same way it is in every Volition game.
Okay.
The Saints were not mentioned by name in
Okay.
Pierce's like little animated intro, but it was like we they talk about Stillwater, the city from Saints, and so
Stillwater rules.
it's connected. It's enough, but it takes place in Seoul, South Korea.
Okay, yeah, right.
In a like hyper lifeless.
right. That's why all the K-pop.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But it seems like they sat down and wanted to make like a funny riff on like G.I. Joe and that style of animated show. Like, it's a good guys versus bad guys. Like, the Agents of Mayhem are the good guys versus whatever the fuck the bad guys are
Bad
called.
guys.
I don't even remember.
Serpentor.
Yeah, Dr. Babylon is the head of that.
That's a good name.
But yeah, it's like that style of just like
It's no Dr. Mindbender.
no, exactly.
But if you like monologues all the time, Babylon's a pretty good name. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
sure.
Maybe. But they've got a bunch of like animated intros to the characters, and the animation's all really choppy and shitty in a way that
On purpose?
I don't know. But it doesn't.
If you don't know, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
well,
no,
it's weird because
Have
it's
you
like
watched the G.I. Joe episode recently?
well, that's the thing though. Is like it looks like cheap '90s. It looks like a shitty gargoyles in some ways instead of like evoking
A good gargoyles.
Instead of a good gargoyles. Yeah. I don't know. People like gargoyles. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, back the fuck off.
Never did. But and so it does like the animation style doesn't match G.I. Joe. It matches like a reboot, a 90s or early aughts reboot of G.I. Joe, like in animation quality.
Okay.
And it just, I don't know. I don't think it looks very good. And maybe they're trying to pull from something newer than G.I. Joe or something. But like, the characters have their kind of code names and all this other stuff. I'm Kingpin. I'm, all this other shit. Hollywood, in a very kind of like their name is their personality sort of way.
Yeah.
And it's just really boring. I think all the writing is like, it feels like a first pass on the script. It feels like, okay, here's the basic tone for what we want to go for. Now someone needs to go back through this and actually connect the dots on these jokes.
Yeah.
And then no one did. So it's like it feels like that there's like a lot of space for jokes. And then there's
setups and
or not even like setups, like space where you would kind of like, oh, they probably need to insert something to make this cutscene worth watching, and they don't.
Especially when you take into consideration like Saints Row 3, Saints Row 4, like they kind of delivered more often than not in setting up areas where you're like, something's going to happen here, and then there is payoff.
You could have the expectation that like they would make good on this shit, or it would at least be weird to the point where you would like have fun along the way.
Yeah.
And I think that like those games have not aged super well.
Probably
not. Like the humor of those games, like you go back to them now, it's like it's a little. Especially 4, which is really like feels like a follow on from the third, and Saints Row the Third I think works because you think about it as like, oh, here's where the series took this turn,
yes,
and then 4 is like we're making an expansion and then decided to flesh it out into a full thing, and then we did that again and then we're kind of doing it again.
I mean, the biggest thing about Saints Row the Third was how unexpected it was, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Once you know the gimmick, it's a little bit less.
Yes,
it's still funny, but it's not quite as much.
Right.
I don't know. In a vacuum, being in a wrestling ring full of guys while people throw you chainsaws and you're the best around plays is pretty good.
Yeah, like they lean into that stuff well, and they use the licensed music pretty well as well, and in those games. So I think some of that stuff, sure, it still does hold up. But parts of it, you're like, okay, this stuff. Yeah, it just feels like devoid of any of that, and it doesn't replace it with its own thing. It just feels like it doesn't have anything to hang its hat on in terms of the script so far, anyway. But Dan finished the game and
he started out really like
I was gonna say listen to the trajectory of his experience with that game over the course, because he played through it over like a week and a couple days or something, and like every time we would talk to him about it, it was like less enthusiastic than the last time.
And I went in going like, man, I don't know. Like when he was enthusiastic at the beginning, like I had played a little bit of it, and went like, I don't know about that, and then sure enough, that's where it ended up. But
he came around.
There are things like, because they try to make the gameplay about cooldown management, and like because you hit left and right of the D-pad to switch out characters at any time. And so the other two characters are not on the battlefield. There is one character, and they teleport out, and the new one teleports in. So you can kind of do that mid-jump if you want.
So you're not jumping to their bodies.
No.
They're like weird.
No.
That sounds kind of cool. Like
except
single
it's
player.
never fast enough to like go like, oh, here's a mid-combo switch, and I'm going to keep doing a thing.
Like if Overwatch somehow had a single player mode, it sounds like they could do something like this, right? Where you have a small squad and you all have,
it becomes about like cooldown management and stuff like that, because you can pop your ability and then swap out while that cooldown.
And I'm sure some abilities interact well with certain other abilities.
Yeah, most of them are just like it's a grenade.
Okay.
Or hey, and this one makes a bunch of explosions appear, but I don't know that it's actually hitting anyone. It seems more like a graphical effect. I don't know.
That'd be pretty funny if it was just a graphical effect.
It's a weird. Well, it is definitely also a graphical effect, because so Hollywood, one of the main 3 characters you get out of the gate, his ability is he's an action hero or whatever. So it's like it's action time, bleh. And then he throws on his glasses, and then a bunch of explosions and music happen. I was in the training arena on your ship, which you can go back to at any time and buy stuff. And then I finished the arena simulation while that ability was active, which makes a bunch of explosions appear and all this other stuff. And then when I got out back into the ship where you can't fire your gun, all the explosions were still happening. So it was like a lot of screen shake and explosions all over the place. I warped back down to the open world. It was still happening there. It didn't stop until I swapped characters, and then that made it stop. And then I was like, man, I shouldn't have stopped it. I should have
just tried to get his ult again, and then
hit it and see double explosions. Anyway, that's a bug. But it's just kind of lifeless. Like you have a gun. you have a skill tree, and that's kind of the only real impact. You have a skill tree, and then there are some ability modifiers you can slot in, and so you acquire those over time, and that'll be like, oh, well, by default, his Johnny Gat's special ability, not his ult, is like a little Uzi swipe that hits a cone and it draws the cone out. And there's a modifier that says, oh, well, here it's longer range but a narrower cone, or it's shorter range but a much wider cone, or it applies a status effect. There's a lot of status effects, negative and positive on both ends, that are like, that for just an open world game of this type seem almost needless. And the way they talk about drops and loot and stuff, like you never get a new gun. Your gun is your gun.
Oh, weird.
You only get modifiers that might make it so, oh, your gun has a bigger magazine size because you spec'd in this direction, or whatever. But each character is each character. You don't change their core loadout.
That sounds kind of monotonous.
Yes, absolutely. Especially because the characters you get out of the gate, I think that like the act of firing a gun in that game is bad. You unlock characters where it is a little more interesting later on, or like just a little more dynamic feeling. But like the movement abilities, everyone has a triple jump, and then some characters have a dash. One character can do it in midair. So like the mobility stuff is not consistent.
Oh, weird.
How does it compare to the shooting in the Saints games? Because like that was fine. I wouldn't call it bad there.
I wouldn't call this.
It wasn't remarkable.
I wouldn't call this bad, but I would say that like you never feel tough. You never feel like, oh, I'm really doing damage. Like the weapon rate of fire, the impact effects and stuff like that, all of it feels really flat. And I think the movement is like, even the run speed is a little too slow. There's just like, you don't feel like you're traversing the world in a badass way. It feels like you're trudging through sludge to get from place to place.
I hate sludge trudging.
Yeah, I know you're an experienced sludge truggler. So
yeah, I spent all my life sludge struggling. I don't want to do it in a video game.
Exactly.
Now. I just want to move.
Yes, and so this game does not let you move in a dynamic way. Not saying it needs to be some combo crazy, character action, fucking Devil May Cry thing or whatever, but it just doesn't feel very good. And they tried to flavor up like the melee attack. So like, when a guy will throw his gun in the air and swing a punch and catch it, but even when he misses, he does it. And it's just this dumb, you just look at it and go like, this takes too long to resolve. And yeah, just none of that stuff feels great. They don't really take advantage of the open world very well. Like there's, points you can kind of, it doesn't feel dynamic. Like, I don't think the characters in the world speak at all, like any of the other pedestrians or anything like that. Like maybe if you steal a car, maybe they have a line or something. But like, yeah, it's just a bizarrely lifeless game. That's a shame. From a company that like, say what you will about the style of the writing. Like I think by the time they got to Get Out of Hell, that stuff was getting terrible. Yeah. Because I think Johnny Gat's an awful character. He's just lame. Yes. So doubling down on like, I'm a violent guy who's gonna curse. It was just like, fucking, all right, great.
Now I'm gonna go fuck shit up in hell.
Yeah, exactly. It's just fucking dumb. This doesn't even have that going for it. Yeah. Like it just feels like that they, in lieu of like they took the Saints Row the Third thing as far as they could by the time they got to Get Out of Hell, to the point where they had warped it in a way that it just didn't work anymore. Yeah. And then in lieu of like finding a new vein to tap, there's just kind of nothing. There's like the setup of like, oh, it's kind of lighthearted and this guy is going to be cocky, but the dialogue is not there to make that work. And it's just a really bizarre game. Damn. But also at times, like I was saying, like, you'll have missions that'll say like, oh, there's a chance that there might be a drop here. Because you can slot in like the things that change your abilities of like, change the cone on your gun. Like those are drops sometimes. But the way they phrase it is there's a chance. And they've got this contract system where every 24 hours, like achievements pop up, like get 1,800 kills, and you can join with 5 other players at random to all work towards this goal, but not online live multiplayer. Just like, oh,
just
if one of your friends,
it.
you're all working towards this goal, and it's only 6 of you for whatever reason. And so they built some of that stuff in a way, and the dungeon or the layers that feel so prefab and thrown together out of the same parts every time you get to one, that at times it feels like they were trying to make a loot game. Like you have to wonder, like at some point, was there some element of this where they were like, oh, well, we're trying to kind of make a Diablo thing or something, but they didn't finish that part of it either.
That's too bad because it sounds like this needed a hook.
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
have.
And it sounds like it could be cool with like having unique characters with unique types of loot and switching between them on the fly to fight enemies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like if
there's
this had loot, or if it had multiplayer, or if it had like good writing.
any one of those things would have probably
like a
made it
Borderlands kind of-
viable.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
without any of that stuff, it feels like that someone had a decent idea 3 years ago or however long, and then whatever happened along the way, right?
Yeah,
they got bought by a new company,
Yes.
like all this, who knows?
That's where it starts to get thorny.
People
'cause-
left,
yeah, 'cause
people, new people on the
'cause
gig.
You
like-
start looking at credits and you're just like, did they lose people? Like, what exactly happened here?
Yeah, like
But
at the end of the day, though, like that's like a interesting like intellectual exercise or whatever. But at the end of the day, the game is just bad.
Yeah.
And it's weirdly so. In a way, you're just like, man, how did this happen? I said it before. It wasn't E3 this year. It was E3 last year that they showed it for the first time.
Me and you went to go see it.
And we went to go see it.
And it was the first appointment of that entire show that I booked it in literally the first slot because I was like, dude, yes, let's go see the new game from Volition.
Absolutely.
From Volition, of course.
And sat down and went like, this seems early.
Yes.
It's exactly that game still, like in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Because I came out of that meeting concerned.
I came out of it thinking that seems early,
Yes.
and then seeing it kind of not change that much over
Dude,
time.
Remember the end of Saints Row 4? I mean, like, yes, obviously the existence of Get Out of Hell kind of negates this argument, but like where they got to at the end of Saints Row 4 and how exciting that was.
I was far more interested at the end of Saints Row 4 of the idea of them taking a break from Saints Row.
Well, but that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
they wrote such an absurd outcome
Right.
at the end of that game that was like, okay, well, they're
Where do
obviously
they go
not. They
from
can't
here?
just
Yeah.
continue this.
yeah, or if they
they're
do,
gonna-
it's going to be such a different thing
Right.
that it
That's
could be really cool.
That's what I mean. Like whatever they do after this is going to have to be a big surprise, right? Because this is obviously not
Yeah.
where they're going.
And then when they announced Agents of Mayhem, it seemed like that they
That was kind of
were
that.
kind of coy about its
Yeah.
connection to the Saints Row-averse.
Yeah.
And it sounds like them not mentioning the Saints by name is kind of them saying like this is a side.
Or it's a far-flung future but then Johnny Gat is just straight up in it, and so is Pierce. So,
He's
so
timeless.
maybe, yeah.
Well, I mean,
he's
they-
been to hell and
they
back, so who
traveled
knows?
back at the end of 4, so
Right,
it makes sense
so
that they
it-
can travel forward.
Yeah. I mean, it's at some point, like the continuity of that universe is so broken that you can kind of do whatever.
Yeah.
I like the idea of this. I like some weird idea of this of being like some alternate universe future. This is what happened to the Saints.
Yeah.
'Cause that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Like they all wear the logo, but it's got jagged edges because it's the cyber future. And like they're kind of winking and nodding at that stuff, or not even winking and nodding. Like it's just like it's there. They don't, nothing plays it up in a way that you go like, oh yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just like, here it is. It just feels very flat. And there's some part of me that wants to kind of caveat that by saying I didn't finish the game, but again, having kind of seen what Dan had to say about it as he played through it.
Also, 5 hours is not nothing.
Yeah.
If you're burned out at that point.
Do you think this is the last time we see Johnny Gat for a while?
I sure hope so. I just, the character is just lame. They need to kind of, I think they need to kind of clean the slate and make something where the only reference is Ultor.
Yeah. Sure.
Go all the way back to just like, oh, the Ultor Corporation, they're bad. Anyway.
Now we're back on Mars.
Now we're back on Mars.
You can destroy all the level.
Well, I don't think they
shoot holes in things.
They don't own that
Yeah,
IP,
I know,
right?
I know
Yeah,
they
that
don't.
went to
Yeah,
THQ
they
Nordic.
don't.
So
You're right.
So that's a
Well, I mean, they go to Mars in Saints Row.
That's true.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well,
THQ Nordic does not own Mars.
That's
Not yet.
not yet. We'll see what they do.
We'll see how Agent sells.
Yeah, no, they're that's Deep Silver.
Yes.
Yeah, the publishers of Shenmue 3
Right.
and other fine hits.
I thought we as a collective people are the publishers of Shenmue 3.
Not in Europe.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Or I don't know actually if they're publishing it here or not. I don't actually. I didn't follow.
I don't think so. I think I'm
Yeah, it
pretty
is-
sure
it
it's
is
just
just
I
Europe.
guess we're more like producers of it.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm fucking not. The opposite of that.
What you do with your money is your business.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I found myself really interested in that just because I wanted to see what Volition had done, and it's not.
That's good to know.
It's no good.
I downloaded it over the weekend and
Yeah.
then closed the Steam window. Did not launch it.
Yeah, it's I think you're probably okay skipping that one,
Yeah.
unless you just unless like me, you have this like kind of sick curiosity to see kind of see how that thing came out. But yeah,
Happy to let you be the canary in the coal mine on that one. There's a lot of good games out.
and Dan's reviews on the site.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want to read a more kind of complete take on it, he's got that as well.
He's all the way
Yes.
dead in that coal mine.
But that's the other thing is fucking like they write this thing like it could be a kid's story. It's like full of like Uranus jokes and shit that's like super junior high, and you're just, and like okay, like so in some weird way it's like you could almost see it as like what if we made a fun kids game, but then like not constantly, but every so often, every 20 minutes or so, there's just like this cursed tirade that falls out of a character to remind you like, no, it's edgy. And you're like, but that doesn't, it's just so fucking weird. Bad writing, bad. Yeah,
That's really
it's a bad game.
unfortunate. Did you play any good games?
But we can't talk about that one just yet. So
Man, now I want to know what that is.
yeah, that's more or less what I've been sticking to.
Yeah.
Playing a little Nidhogg 2 here and there, trying to get into some online matches just with random folks.
How's that been going?
They've patched it a couple of times since release.
Seems more stable.
Yeah.
Good.
And so
I tried right away, and I was having trouble maintaining connection.
yeah,
with
launch
people.
day I couldn't even get connected. So I've been able to matchmake with strangers. And
Does it seem pretty active?
it still seems like it's taking a long time to actually make the connection, but it doesn't. It's hard to know if that's a network problem or a lack of players problem.
And you're playing on PS4, correct?
I and on PC.
And on
I've been
PC?
playing on both,
Okay.
and I've had similar situations with both versions.
Gotcha.
So, but when it gets connected up, like you can play it, and it's mostly fine. The netcode I don't think is like top notch great, but for a $15 game, you're like, this is good enough.
I've
for the price.
I've come to a decision about Nidhogg 2.
All right, let's hear it.
It's fucking awesome.
It's
It's
All
really
right.
good.
yes, it is super fun.
Yeah. Local, I mean, in the ideal Nidhogg setting. Like,
Right.
obviously a lag online or on like the single players kind of
with boomerang swords and
Is
spine
what it is.
swords
Yes.
and butterfingers. And, yeah.
maybe turn off the bow.
They didn't have any modifiers in the last game, did they?
Yeah, they had some of that stuff.
yeah?
Yeah, they're a little
They-
bit.
they
not as
Yeah,
many.
spine swords. And,
Not as many,
and
but
that
boomerang was one.
And they
okay.
tweaked them because the boomerang in the last game, it would stay on screen the whole
Yeah.
time. This time it goes
Yes,
off
it's
screen
much harder
just long enough for you to forget
about
it,
it.
and
Yep.
then it comes back.
Real devious.
stuff. Yeah, it's pretty savage. Still
Yeah.
one of the best title screens in the game. The logo in that game is incredible.
Yep.
Great music.
Yeah.
Yeah, good music.
I like
Good background. Like the backgrounds are great.
Yeah,
Pixel
it's
art
a-
is fantastic.
But just very responsive, very fun.
Yeah.
Like the
Once you get used to the weapon cycle, like once you start to figure out what your next weapon's going
Yeah.
to be, and you can kind of think ahead a little bit, it becomes a lot deeper than Nidhogg 1 to a degree. Like it's still not the most complex, game, but just being like, okay, they have a rapier and I'm about to get a knife. What
do I
advantages do I
Yeah,
have here?
yeah.
Like what should I do?
And I think once you start to anticipate, hey, I'm going to spawn with the bow, you start to think about ways to make the bow effective. And I feel like I've gotten a little bit better with the bow. We played on Friday, and then I played some more over the weekend, and had a couple of really good, like realizing that if you knock an arrow and then you can jump and let
Yeah,
off,
yeah.
and that's how you can do,
And the crouch
high
shots.
It's mostly just getting used to the wind up time on pulling
Yes,
the bow back.
definitely.
There's a good second before you can let it go.
Yeah, but a lot of really good, because of that wind-up time, you result in some really fucked up situations where you're just like point-blank range, like, oh god, and you just get them, you're like, oh, thank God.
You know what doesn't require you to knock is throwing the bow.
Yeah, also throwing the bow. It does not kill,
Yeah.
but
It can give you, if they're point blank and you throw the
it
bow,
knocks
then
it
you
down
run in and
stomp.
melee
Yeah,
them.
you get kills with the thrown bow for sure. I like that game a whole lot.
Yeah, me too.
It is really great. Been playing a little bit more of that, and I have been fucking around with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
What?
Which is a upcoming video game that's in early access.
Oh, it's not out yet?
No,
Okay.
I guess not. You can buy it, but it's not out.
Why would you want to do that?
It's a lot of fun. Also, the entire video game industry. This seems to be the game where everyone finally just like, or okay, maybe it's a triumvirate. It's Paragon, it's Fortnite. But now there's this like, fuck it, like it's not done But
as soon as you can play a video game,
it's
a
video game, and now there's like, oh, NVIDIA releasing full-on press releases devoted to, hey, we've got new features that make it work better for Battlegrounds, because they added the auto highlight stuff to Battlegrounds.
Auto highlight.
It'll record video of stuff, like it's tied into the game, like features that like normally are like weird bonusy things that come out at launch or post-launch. Like, hey, we added this in post-launch because we had some time. Like, now you get the impression that like that game is sold so well that everyone wants a fucking piece of it, and they're willing to put money in to like jump to the front of the feature line or something, because or maybe do the work for them or whatever. I don't know how easy it is to integrate.
So wait, are you saying
stuff?
Are you saying it's like action aware, like it starts recording when something insane happens? Or is it just recording all the time?
This is something they added to the GeForce experience a while ago, but I don't know which games actually supported it. It might have just been like Overwatch or something. But so like literally in that tool, in that app, you turn on highlighting for the game, and then it'll say, what do you want to auto record? And it's like deaths, single kills, double kills, triple kills, you winning.
Okay, that makes
like
sense.
One other thing, and it'll just knock off. You have to like turn on the overlay. Like the number of hoops you have to jump through to make it work sucks. But once you get it all up and running, it actually is kind of neat, if a little clunky, where it'll just knock out 40-second clips of here's what happened when you killed a guy, and then when you finish the game, not even when you quit the game, but after the end of a match, the overlay pops up with like, here are the 4 clips we pulled. Do you want to save any of these? And you can. And so I fucked around with that a little bit last night, and
it works.
It works
as advertised.
It's me shooting somebody.
That's a cool idea.
I remember shooting that guy.
Yeah, and then that other guy shot you.
Yeah, well,
but
I didn't save that clip.
Yeah, is that gonna? I wonder, is that just gonna like burn people out on watching Battlegrounds highlight clips when everybody is posting them every 5 minutes?
I don't know. I mean,
it's going to raise the bar of what makes a good Battlegrounds clip.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Yes. Like the 2 clips I decided to post last night just as a part of fucking around with it. I felt pretty good about those kills, but you watch them and go like, yeah, you
shot that guy.
You hid next to that staircase while because you heard the footsteps, and I got what you don't see is the 3-minute
full story,
protracted gunfight that I was in with this fucker. From a window looking down, and then I said fuck it and hid around the stairs, and then he got impatient and ran in, and I gunned down. That was that. Take that, fucker.
That's right.
If you're listening, take that.
That's right. If you're listening, hold that. I don't know. That game's still good. Yeah, I think I like playing it alone.
Did I see they're gonna start scaling back on the pace of their updates?
I don't know. I did not
saw
see that.
some people saying that, but I didn't follow up on.
Yeah,
they're going to step back from, because what was it previously? It was like every month they were updating?
It was like they had a monthly goal, but then they would patch along the way. And I don't know if it was like, sometimes it felt like it was weekly for a little bit. So maybe they're getting to a point where they're a little more focused on bigger issues that take more time. I could see that making sense, but I didn't see that, so I don't know.
Just get mantling in before they stop patching it.
Well,
that's all I need.
They've got, I think they've got work to do. There's an implication out there from Player Unknown himself that they are potentially going to redo the UI for the front end, which I think needs work.
Oh yeah, that web page,
that sweet web page. So I think there's stuff around that. I also wish that they would totally scrap the player models in that and do them better. Now that they have made all the money in the world,
more customizable.
I think there's a lot of work to go into making the characters just look and move better, because they just look really boxy and clunky, especially with this fucking dumb tracksuit I've got that hangs off them like it's a firefighter's outfit.
Did you get that out of a box, or did you get it on the market?
I got those out of crates. Okay. That I bought on the market. But yeah, I feel like the clothing doesn't hang right. There's a lot of clipping issues with like melee weapon or like weapons on your back through whatever the clothing looks like. I think they should do another pass on that stuff at some point. It's probably not like top fucking a bug issue or whatever, but it's something that I hope that they don't like lock any of that stuff down. I hope that they allow the scope to change on that stuff. Again, now that they've made a fucking zillion dollars, like there's an opportunity to go back and make that stuff look a lot better than it does.
Yeah. I've started messing around with I played some duos with a friend one night for a few hours, and it was kind of I had played once before with two people. But after that, I really enjoyed the experience. I really like 2-person teams. You can kind of assign different roles, and you can move. It's less
probably
cumbersome
easy
than
to
moving
communicate with
Yeah.
just one other person.
But then I started trying out just random duos because you can queue up for squads or duos and it'll auto match you.
I never even realized you could do that.
Yeah.
Random encounters.
And
PUBG.
It's fun. It's really fun because more often than not, I got paired up. So my test for if we're going to be good teammates is I find it points you towards your teammate. You can find the marker in the loot island or whatever it's called, the starting area. You run up to them and start punching them.
Okay.
And if they punch back, it's going to be a good time. Or the other thing I'll do is I'll run up and start wiggling with the Q and E, like back and forth. And if they start wiggling back, then like you're on the same level. And then you just kind of like whoever puts the first pin on the map, that's where you guys go. And then you go. I've never used
you're not voice
chat.
chatting. Yeah.
Nope. And it's it's kind of fun just getting paired up with a rando. Sometimes they're way better than me, and it's really fun just kind of tagging along and playing support.
Get carried to victory.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I definitely one time the other person disconnected on the plane ride over, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait with them until the end, and like maybe we'll be in the circle or whatever. And we drop, and I realized somebody else also had his partner disconnect. So he ran over to my partner and started punching him, and I ran over to him and started punching him as he was punching my partner, and he realized so it just turned into a big fist fight. I won, and then I went and punched his partner to death.
Nice.
And then my person never came back, and I ended up dying like 5 minutes later. But it was still just a really fun, weird, small experience, which is what makes that game great.
That is the big thing about that game. Is all those little things. So in some ways, like the highlight system and being able to share kind of just like each individual little moment. Well, when they revolve around kills, I guess there's no like check out this sick moment where we all danced in the middle, or whatever. But
I flipped my motorcycle.
Yeah, like vehicle stunts are probably something they need to like add the triggers for or whatever if they really
sick
want.
flips box. Check the sick flip box.
There's a box for killer bugs. Check that one. Hope for the best.
Just records the whole game.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much. I'm still sticking with that in some of my off time.
Yeah. How'd you guys do yesterday?
I had a couple of moments where I got some pretty good kills. I ran in with a shotgun and saved Vinny at one point, and I think I got 3 kills in that fight, and we were doing pretty well, and then just got outplayed, and it happens.
How do you like our chances?
Oh,
of ever?
No, it's
finishing
not. It's not gonna. Okay, I will say I think that there is a 4-person team. In our employ that could get it done.
Okay. Do you have a roster in mind?
I do.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe it wasn't the 4 people that
I see.
Maybe it was 3 of the 4 people that were playing yesterday. Anyway, actually 5. Abby played as well. Abby's really good. Abby got some pretty good fucking kills in there too.
Have you guys done the 8-player squads at all?
No, no. With the
I've been up to
stuff.
5 or 6.
That's the next thing I want to try.
We never had a full 8.
Yeah.
When I played.
It seems very fun to just have like because it turns it into like a couple. There's only a few squads on the whole map.
Right.
Because like if 8 into 100. I'm no math guy, but that's what 40, 12 squads.
I mean, the thing I heard about it is just how chaotic and like borderline unmanageable the firefights are because there are 8. Like if you run into one other squad, that's 16 people shooting at each other.
Yeah,
it's like playing like Counter-Strike with 12 teams.
Right, I mean, on top of that, like in a normal game, you're used to it's like, okay, we killed 3 people, that was it. Now we can. It's like, okay, now we can relax and loot their stuff, and it's well, you get 3 kills here, and it's like, no, there are 5 more people shooting at you.
That seems chaotic in a fun way.
Yeah, I think I just for my part, like the down but not out system. I understand why it's there. I think it's valuable. All that other stuff. I just don't know that I enjoy it as much.
I think it could be balanced
when you're playing
better.
Alone. When someone goes down, that's it. They're fucking done. It's not like, oh, well, I got them from a distance and now I'm not able to actually close it out as they crawl behind and get revived. And sure, I've done exactly the same and we've scraped through some fucked up situations as a result. But I guess maybe I wish that maybe if the timer was way less generous or it took fewer bullets to get someone who was in a downed state. So, it's a little bit easier to kind of finish the job. Because it almost feels like that they have just as much life, if not more, in a downed state, to take them from down to dead
Right.
than it does to take them from alive to down. And that, that stuff I find frustrating. It just, it makes it harder and to finish the job, and I think some people are into that, and it's not really what brings me to the game. So playing solo, where if someone drops, that's it. I know it's over for them, and they don't have anyone backing them up. But there might be someone who was running up to try to shoot them, and that's the concern. Like that to me is what the interesting stuff about that game. It's like SOCOM and MAG all in one.
Sure. Perfect analogy.
But not really.
Yes. I played the new Uncharted.
Yeah.
We should talk about that.
Yeah.
It's out today.
Yes.
I am officially done. Feel free to smack me in the future the next time I say they didn't need to make another one of blank.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like the thing about Naughty Dog these days, right? Like they keep making Uncharted's. They're making another Last of Us. That probably also didn't need to happen. Like they,
I'm with you there. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's kind of different
I can see
situations. Like,
Uncharted, go, but in this direction with different characters.
on the side of on the Uncharted side, it's just kind of been the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of climbing and a lot of third-person cover shooting.
Oh, there's a bridge. I
murder,
sure hope it
a lot
doesn't
of-
explode as I walk over it.
A lot of puzzles made out of ancient stonework and metal and
Right.
old artifacts. Like they've done that many times. Like in the case of the Sully's not in this one, but I mean in the case of The Last of Us was a one-off, but like it ends so perfectly that it almost feels like it cheapens it to make another one. But
yes, it's hard to say that. I agree with you, and maybe they've found a fun new way to tell the story that makes that game.
They keep fucking making me look like an idiot every time I say like they really didn't need to make another one of these, because then I play it and I'm like, oh, this is actually really amazing, and justifies itself way better than I would have
But also,
imagined.
I think both things can be true.
Yeah, sure.
If you think about the core, like Uncharted works because it is this huge budget, like, or it has the look of it, like just beautiful environments, and that stuff goes a long way, especially like as we see. It seems like we see fewer and fewer games at that scale. That games that really take advantage of the hardware, games that really just like look fucking beautiful, like that carries it a long way, and seeing them kind of Uncharted 4, seeing them like, hey, we're gonna make this game for PS4 from the ground up, like in and of itself that works.
Yeah, to an extent.
Even if the story, like the storyline reasons maybe aren't there, and that's up to them to find a way to open that book again.
Yeah.
I think they've done that better than expected.
So that's the part that always surprises me. That's the thing that's very tricky, and like there's I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but like quality of writing in games broadly, let's say, still getting there.
Yeah.
Oh,
To
sure.
some
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
There are plenty of well-written games these days, but like it's
Yeah,
I don't know. It still feels a little more like the exception
we're
than the rule.
seeing more and more smaller games that are telling more interesting, quiet, personal stories.
It is night and day from where it was like 10 years ago. But
when you get away from that, like it is still like the best thing you can say about a lot of big budget games is like it was like a summer action movie,
right?
Which those are not good stories either.
I feel like that's where Uncharted used to be, like on the PS3.
Sure.
Like they were really good summer action blockbusters that were like pretty light and superficial, and you didn't really think much about them afterwards.
Yeah, and that's fine. But yeah,
but they have elevated it in that way for sure. So this thing, like this $40, it was a DLC for 4 that they basically spun off into its own game.
Yeah.
No Nathan Drake. It's Chloe. Remember Chloe? Anybody?
Only because I've seen you play some of this game.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't keep up on the Uncharted lore.
Yeah. So basically, they pulled Chloe. She was in 2 and 3, and Nadine, who was like not the bad guy in 4, but like was working with the bad guy, so it was kind of bad by transitive property. She's like the buddy in this, and like it's a super fun, awesome adventure between them, like just out in India looking for a thing.
Like kind of an odd couple, like not necessarily
sorta.
the best friends.
Well, yeah, they're not super thrilled with each other, and like it kind of goes back and forth, and like sometimes it swings really hard in different directions where they're like at each other's throats, and then but it's handled super well. Like the stuff is, the storytelling is fantastic there.
Do they break off quite frequently, or are there any instances in which you're like, hey, I've got to get up this ledge, can you come over and give me a boost?
It's actually the amount of stuff that she does as the buddy is insane in this, because she will handle stealth kills for you. She will do puzzle stuff that you normally would have to do. Like
she'll like walk towards the path after you complete an objective. She will walk towards the path. If you stand there long enough, she'll be like kind of nudging you, like, let's go this way.
Like I had a puzzle where I had to find 5 switches spread around this environment, and I had hit like the 3rd one. And then off camera, I heard her say, "Oh, there's the last one," and like click, and then the big door opened, and I was like, "Oh shit!" She went out and found like half the things for me. Or
instead of just standing near it and say, "I think this is one of them."
Yeah, like she feels involved in what you're doing in like a really surprising way. And like I said, she'll kill guys for you stealthily right in front of you like that. She feels like a really active participant. But like it's like 8-9 hours probably.
Cool.
Which is fantastic. Like Uncharted 4 was like 20 hours or something.
I have always,
so
again,
long.
like, you know, like I've never been a big Uncharted fan. So all those games have felt way too long for me.
Yeah. Well, it got longer. Like 4, it was long even by the standards of the series. And there were just
some of the earlier Uncharted were like 6-8 hours.
Because I feel like I remember 2 distinctly being like
2 got longer. Like 1 was. So when I saw this game at E3 and they told me then, they were like, yeah, it's about the length of Uncharted 1. So yeah, like the first Uncharted is pretty short, and they kept getting longer over time.
Yeah.
To the point that like 4 is super interesting narratively, but like that's just, man, like
it's a lot of it.
One more fucking island cliff to climb up, you know, like it keeps going and going, and like this is really tight, super well paced,
and like a little more open, right?
There's a part in the middle. There's one chapter that is like, I talked about this. There's a review on the site. Talked about it in there some, but there's one chapter that is like almost an open world. It's self-contained though. It's just that chapter. Like you do the story stuff you need to do there, and then you just move on, and like you run back through it at one point, but in a very tight. Like they don't ever let you go back out in it to finish the stuff you missed. Like, and they even say at the end of that chapter, it was like, hey, you should do the stuff here before we move on.
Yeah,
because you're not going to get another chance. But yeah, it was like neat to see like kind of a halfway attempt at an open world in those games.
Yeah,
yeah, that stuff's cool. But yeah, it's mainly just like how like briskly it moves, like how, because Uncharted 4 is like there's a flashback in a prison, and then you're in Scotland, and then you're on a tropical island, and then you're at a banquet. Auction, and then you know, it just like you're just going here and there and everywhere, and like it just feels like it goes forever. And this is all in one place. It's all in India. It's like basically one big location that you just kind of go from one end to the other, and it just like it feels just really tight and brisk and just moves. Like you never get bored of it. I never got bored. Like I had thought there was no way I could actually want to play through another Uncharted game, and by the end of it, I was just like, man, I can't wait to see how this finishes.
Yeah,
like it's really well made.
I'll probably check this out, even though I think I got to a little bit past like the auction in Uncharted 4 before it's kind of like I just don't really like the way the shooting works in those games.
Yeah, I mean this is still that,
and yeah, no, I've seen enough of it to know that it is still that.
Yeah.
But
and like
if this is shorter, at least I could go like, oh well, I kind of want to see this thing through. But I don't know. Like for me, Uncharted became it's this cover shooter that is not like all that great. Like I've never really been drawn to the combat in that game. I just don't. It's fine, but it's never felt like more than that.
Yeah.
And then the climbing, which is like, again, like this totally stakes free, like largely gameplay free, point in this direction.
It's literally
kind of only one path up the wall.
Literally push the stick in a direction. And hit
and then which way do I have to move to get the hand to go out? And that's when I hit X. Like it's just that stuff. It's just whatever.
I totally agree with you. The way they spice that up in this is by making the things that you're climbing on either like so just insanely larger than life or like unexpected that it's kind of cool to climb on them, even though like what you're doing is not.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's at least like here's this visual thing, like hey, by the way, we know how to make amazing looking fucking video games.
Yeah.
Like that's a good cover for that.
You had mentioned on the quick look that it's probably one of the most beautiful games you've ever played.
It
like,
is, yeah.
Just
sure.
Everything from like, you know, we showed off a couple different areas, like the mud alone on the tires looks beautiful, and like the way that the neon signs in kind of the city section like reflect off the water on the ground. It's
and I mean which version of the quick look are you talking about? The one that's not the one we lost, or the other one we lost?
We recorded 2 Uncharted quick looks on Friday,
and now we're going to do a live one.
We lost both
today.
of them.
Wait, we lost the second?
Dude, you didn't know?
No.
Dude,
are you serious?
Yes. Both of those quick looks on Friday are gone.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. The benefit though is now the game's out, so you can show the multiplayer.
Now I have finished it,
and
so now we can look at whatever.
Anyway,
it was a day.
It was a day.
But yeah, like, I mean, whatever. That's like, it looks amazing and like has great production values, is totally par for the course for them.
Sure,
like the
totally.
story here is that it's a $40 game that I expected to be maybe a little bit compromised for that reason. And no, it's like
It's just a little shorter.
The quality of the production is just as high as 4. Like, it was kind of surprising to see that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe this thing was going to be a DLC at one point, because it is a full game.
Well, you'd have to imagine that if they stuck to that course, like they probably like it grew in scope.
Oh, I
when
know.
they decided
Yeah,
to spin it
I'm
out.
sure.
I'm
sure that's
guessing.
what it was. Yeah, absolutely.
Like maybe it was just that open world and
yeah.
a little bit more
Yeah.
or something at that point. But yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, I would say even if you think you don't ever want to play an Uncharted game again, like maybe one more. Maybe you could squeeze one more.
Uncharted
short
5.
No,
That's
I'm
what-
saying
no, that's
I'm
what,
like-
now
yeah.
one more.
No.
Off the success of this,
This is
they're like, hey, we decided to lean deeper into this kind of open world tech
Yeah.
for Uncharted, so now we've made this. Like, no.
I guess the question is, is Sony going to farm this out to another developer now?
Do they keep Uncharted going?
Yeah,
I believe we talked about this in one of the quick.
probably.
Well, they'll need to make an Uncharted the movie, the game.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. I guess that'll still happen, right? So, man, God,
Yeah.
yeah, all FMV. It'll be an FMV game at that point. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is, I feel like Naughty Dog has kind of signaled that this is it from them.
There's like an interview out there recently where they all but say, but I mean, I would have said the same thing coming off of 4. Was like, man, the ending of 4 sure makes it seem like they are done making Uncharted games.
Yeah. And then,
this
was planned as DLC, probably as part of that.
They made this to basically fulfill an obligation. So since they made this thing standalone, anybody that bought the season pass for 4 just gets this for free.
Oh, that's cool.
Which
All
is
right.
kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I think that was $20 and this is $40.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, so people are basically getting a free game if
Neat.
they have that season. Yeah, that's a cool gesture.
And then, they're going to go on to Last of Us 2, which Yeah.
So seeing this open stuff that they did in this one makes me feel better about that, I think.
I bet. Yeah, because that's a more of a Last of Us thing, that kind of more open area sort of situation.
I mean, it verges on like Far Cry territory in this one because, they've got these enemy camp type things that you can kind of come at from different angles. And you can tag guys and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
man,
it's getting there.
I wish I enjoyed playing Naughty Dog's games.
Yeah. I
Like,
understand.
they're beautiful.
There's a sluggishness to the way those games feel, just the movement,
Yeah.
which works fine when you're doing the like borderline scripted like cliff climbing stuff, but when you're in a dynamic firefight type situation and like
that's
the cover is a little sticky,
Yeah.
like the aiming is a little slow.
But I feel like the stuff
Like
they're doing with like just storytelling in big budget games and the bits and pieces along the way, like they're doing set pieces at a size and scope that other studios don't.
Yeah.
Like they're amazing achievements, and that's like as close as I can get to them.
and I'm kind of with you, and that's why I acknowledge those problems with stuff like the shooting. I just kind of overlook it, honestly. Like I can live with it for 10 hours.
I feel like it, and this one being shorter, I'm like, okay, maybe this is a little bit more. Because I tried to play Last of Us, and
Last of Us is really good.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Again, like amazing, beautiful characters, and look at that story. Wow, they're really doing great stuff.
We've talked about it before. I really came to appreciate that thing as like a really rough stealth game because I played it on hard and like you're having to conserve all your bullets and like it's really tense that way. But
not for me.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing I could say about this thing is that I got bored with parts of Uncharted 4 and like I never got bored of this. Like it just is. It's tight and it moves fast enough that you never have a chance to. So yeah, it's really good.
Cool.
Ben, have you played?
Sonic Mania. I played a bunch of Sonic.
Did you finish it? I understand it's not that long.
It's long.
So I saw the list of zones and went like, oh, this is actually like maybe a third longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, so I thought I was close to the end, but it looks like I'm only a little more than halfway, it seems. But yeah, so like I never played more than 20, 30 minutes of Sonic proper 2D, like, Sonic 1 through 3 before this. So I wanted to really give it a shot. And I keep going back and forth on how I feel about it. So I feel like the problem is, as a child, the schoolyard argument was always Sonic versus Mario, right? It was like Genesis, Super Nintendo, Sonic, Mario. Those were the two pillars you had to compare against each other, like the main points you would always go back to. And I was always under the impression that Sonic was just bad in every way.
If you stood still, he would tap his foot impatiently and say, "Let's, hey, let's get it going."
Because my main thing was that the platforming, the Mario is all about like figuring out how to move Mario himself very well, and then maneuvering through these well-crafted levels by like taking full advantage of your control over the character. And I was like, but the platforming in Sonic is bad, was like kind of my go-to thing. But I didn't realize, a hardcore Sonic fan might say otherwise, but a
hardcore Sonic fan will say a lot of things.
Sure. But what I've come to appreciate about Sonic, 2D Sonic, is that these levels are huge and intricate and incredible, and like you can run through the same level tons of different ways. And it's all about kind of like, the first time you play through a level, you're not going very fast. But the more you play and the more you start to kind of figure out, what routes you like to go on, what routes are best for you, you can kind of start to get better and better. It's sort of like speed running in a sense. I get like, it's like, instead of mastering your controls, you're kind of mastering these levels. You're learning how to go fast.
Or like, hey, here's where the path to the secret level is, and that sort of stuff.
And like, I've accidentally found secret levels and been like, oh, like I guess I have been going kind of off the beaten path. I thought I was just holding right, but then I guess over here sometimes I was, jumping over here. So I still think the platforming isn't great. The areas where you have to slow down and jump from platform to platform.
It doesn't feel good, especially like the way Sonic jumps when he's on an incline.
Yeah.
It's just that low, shitty jump that fucks you over every time.
And like the fact that if
the terrain is usually very wavy.
Yeah. If you're moving at all and you hit down, you don't start the spin. Like you just roll, you do the little, but you have to be perfectly still and then hold down and then you'll start to spin up to move.
Yeah.
I think some of the bosses are really fun and creative, and some of the bosses can go fuck themselves, like Metal Sonic, for example. But like, the game is beautiful. The stage design is really incredible. The one before Starlight Speedway, it was like something garden. It starts as kind of like a jungly level and then transitions to like a snowy level with cherry blossoms kind of flying in front of the screen.
So I don't know if either one of you would know, but is any of that stuff like brand new? Because
there are brand new zones like in this game.
New like tile sets, pixel art,
there's new stuff in there for sure.
And like there's so many, there's enemy design. Like I've gone through a level a second time and seen enemies I didn't even see the first time. Granted, they're kind of all variations of a core set of enemies, but there's a lot to enjoy about this game that I didn't think I would. The music is incredible. Yeah. Like not only of course they nailed the original score stuff, but then the remixes, and then for the new zones, there is new music that I think is like totally of the era.
They've made a like a very good cheery game in Sonic Mania. Like it is blue skies in the way that like people used to talk about a lot of Sega's releases.
Okay.
Daytona and the like of like, hey,
Crazy Taxi, Jet Set,
like the pre-Burnout Revenge era of like everything was gritty.
Yeah. There was like a vibe to there was a
Because like even
a sprightliness to a lot of Sega
exactly.
games.
Even the bad guys aren't that bad. Like Eggman's, he's a wacky and he's got his giant goofy looking robots and stuff, and you're just like, oh, you clown, I'm gonna knock you against these spikes.
God, now that you mention it, like that even extended to stuff like menu sound effects and just like background music. Like there was just a crispness.
Yeah, that was like do you remember the site UK Resistance?
Yeah, totally.
Like that was their whole thing was fucking like blue sky, fucking Sega, fucking like bring that back. What the fuck happened to us as a people? And video games and all that stuff. Like, and maybe they were right. Maybe they were right.
There's a little more of that.
Yeah,
sure.
The thing that really is kind of the most upsetting part about Sonic, though, is the game over stuff. In my opinion, so they're trying to recreate the classic feel of playing Sonic.
I don't think I like where this is
whereas
going.
if you die and run out of lives in zone 2 of a zone,
Act 2
Act
of
2
a zone. Yeah.
of a zone, you go back to Act 1, the beginning of Act 1.
Okay.
And
I mean, that's still better than the original was just straight up start the whole game over, right?
Sonic 1 had no save system at all.
So it's better than that, but then it's only really been an issue a couple times for a couple bosses that I just like couldn't wrap my head around how to deal with. And I don't know if it was like maybe these are throwbacks to old Sonic bosses that if you knew how to beat them at the time, you can just transfer that skill to now.
Jump on them.
No, man.
What?
Metal Sonic's up here.
Well, Metal Sonic's a whole
and
different.
he's got like the guys, and sometimes they roll and sometimes they dash, and you got to bounce.
I'm going to say that Metal Sonic encounter is probably, and I have not seen it, but I'm saying that's something that is meant to be a. I bet they put that at the halfway point.
Yes.
As like a, hey, here's an actual boss.
So once
something.
I beat him, but it wasn't after like replaying that same zone 3 times from the beginning. And I mean, I get it. I get the desire to make it. It's just like you did it when you were a kid. But hey, I am not a kid anymore, and I just sometimes want to go through a video game. I'm in kind of a unique position where I want to beat video games quickly for work so I can play other video games. But if I didn't have a lot of time, let's say, to play games, like maybe a couple hours a day at most, I wouldn't want to repeat the same zone 3 or 4 times. And I just think it's frustrating and doesn't really serve a purpose other than being frustrating.
So what I'm hearing is that you need
And
to
bad.
be better at video games.
I know.
What if you were to get good at Sonic?
Don't do
No.
it. Don't do it. Not at all.
That's
no, it's
not
not
worth
worth
it.
it. Crazy. Not worth it.
That is not worth.
Definitely not. Not worth.
Um.
Some of the
yeah.
some of the unlockables, I was intending to play some more of that game over the weekend and then got sidetracked with some other stuff. But I did look up what some of the unlockables and other options are, and there's some fun stuff in there.
There's one
What?
mode in particular.
I want to know. If you don't want to know about the unlocks in Sonic, turn this thing off.
Well, there's one that it was a mode in Sonic 1, which is a debug mode, which is kind of a pseudo level editor.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of turn Sonic into any item in the game and plant it down.
That
So
was
you
in
can
Sonic
draw
1?
things with rings. Yeah, it was in Sonic 1.
What?
And you could just kind of float around the levels as a ring if you wanted to and plant a bunch of rings down. So people are writing out things in rings. And, it's not Super Mario Maker. You can't save it. Unless they added that. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
But it's like a goofy...
So that's maybe that's what I heard about a few months ago that I thought this had a level editor from.
Yeah, maybe.
The mode I'm excited about is the Knuckles mode, where you can pick like Sonic or Sonic and Tails or Knuckles.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you guys just went with the default
Sonic and Tails.
Sonic and Tails.
Yeah.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
And also, there's value in having Tails there because you could get to watch him die over and over again. But also, like you can jump and grab onto him and fly to higher parts of the level.
Yeah.
Which I guess if you played just as Tails, you could probably do that too. But anyway.
But the Knuckles mode adds Knuckles to your party, and so you can totally just pick Knuckles and have Knuckles.
Wait, can you have all 3?
No.
You can't do Sonic and Tails and
you can do
Knuckles?
Sonic and Knuckles. You can do Tails and Knuckles.
Oh, okay.
So it basically like it's you because otherwise by default it's you could play as Knuckles, as Sonic,
or as Sonic and Tails.
Sonic and Tails.
So that's what I meant. I was asking.
Tails.
Or Tails, just Tails
That's
playing.
that's why I was wondering if you can add the and Knuckles to the Sonic and Tails.
No, I don't think.
I don't know,
think you'd have a
but you
3.
could totally do Knuckles and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which is a dumb joke.
Yeah,
that's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play some more of that. That thing seems super well made.
It's neat.
It's fun in like it's a fun game to pick up, put an hour into, and then put down.
Yeah. Seems pretty good on the Switch. I saw that there were some people complaining about one specific stage on the Switch that didn't run quite as well.
Is that what you guys are playing it on?
PS4.
I've been playing on PS4, but I also have the Switch version, so I played a chunk of that as well, and it seems there.
I saw somebody on Twitter posted just a cell phone video of their Switch running Sonic Mania and basically saying like, "Hey, it's a Game Gear 2017."
Right.
Okay, I guess so. Is that it for you?
No. Jason and I,
We played a little something.
we played some fights against each other via the Marvel and the
Oh.
Capcom universes
Yeah.
colliding.
Can you guys talk about that?
Yeah,
We
we can.
can.
We totally
You guys
can.
want to play Marvel Capcom Infinite?
Yeah.
Infinite, yeah.
Yeah, that's
They,
the name
I
of
think
that.
they revealed the remaining characters, the Ghost Rider,
Yeah.
Dormammu,
Firebrand.
Firebrand. Oh, man.
It all just lines up 100% with the leak, right?
It totally does. Yeah,
Okay.
so no real surprises on that front by any means.
God,
But they
man,
did show off
Capcom is one leaky ass ship these days.
For years, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's like
Since like
yeah.
Street Fighter 4
right.
at least.
Yeah.
But then again, like a Monster Hunter World like that, I
Yeah.
don't think that leaked. I don't.
I think when
yeah.
it comes to the fighting stuff, because
Yeah.
there's a higher level of interest in leaks around
There is
Sure.
there is a fanaticism
around the game, not just the announcement, but the like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How DLC will be handled,
Right, yeah.
the costumes and all that.
There's a lot of nuts and bolts that they probably just tell too many people.
But this seemed to be a feature complete version of the game. So they
Yeah.
showed off some more of the story mode, which is like a continuation of what they played at the demo. The demo they released during E3.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
place right after that ends.
It is definitely more of that. I wouldn't expect anything really all that different.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I you know what? So I kind of I enjoyed some of the visuals from it. I enjoyed let's say I really enjoyed watching the Hulk throw Ryu at a Monster Hunter monster.
And then just bounce off of
Yeah.
it, right? And then Ryu, who has apparently been like trying to coach Hulk on keeping his anger under control, because Ryu's got the
He's very placid.
The Dark Hado.
He's
Yep.
got, yeah.
They fucking let loose.
He knows how to bottle it up.
Setsui.
He fucking let loose, and Ryu dragon punches an elder dragon from Monster Hunter. It's amazing.
This is all in the story.
Yeah, this is all in the story mode. So
Or
they
like-
do have some like ridiculous shit
This
going
sounds
on
good
in
and
there.
dumb.
But like, how do those cutscenes
and-
look? Is it like
They look
actually
okay.
Did they have?
Is it fully animated, or is it kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's-
here's a
it's
voice still panel of him
fully
going-
fully animated.
Wait,
it's
like
fully
hand
animated.
animated?
No,
Or you mean just like
in-engine.
just not fucking graphic novel Street Fighter
Yeah.
5 style?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it's fully rendered. Yeah, voice acting, and yeah, I mean it's a nonsensical story, of course.
Like watching Dr. Light talk to Iron Man is kind
I
of
feel
weird.
like they
in
would
a
have a lot
cool
to
way.
say to each other.
Yeah.
Like they're both
Yeah.
men of science.
Yeah.
Like there's,
Yeah.
you know.
They
Or
both,
like
they're both
hearing,
into robots.
hearing Spider-Man crack jokes at Frank West's expense is pretty good too.
So the ridiculousness, like it kind of makes it work, as bad as the story is or whatever. And like, I don't need a story for this kind of game. They do some fun stuff with it.
Yeah.
And the fights as well, I guess, they're just, kind of cut from like, the dialogue. It's like, oh, these guys are going to have a moment together. Let's have them fight as well as fucking yell at one
As
another.
well as fucking. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
lots of fucking.
No, I think my problem with the demo anyway was that when you got into the fights, they were all just like easy fights, like a lot of them against dumb generic robots.
Yep.
And
There's some of that.
like
Yeah.
a lot of it just
And
seemed
it
like
has- it
very
doesn't-
lifeless once you were
sometimes.
playing it.
Right. Yeah. Like it's like, oh, you've got to destroy 10 of these
Yeah.
robots before they like fly off and destroy this building. Or
It's
something
also a
like that.
bummer coming from like the NetherRealm games that just so smoothly go into those fights to like be
It's
like,
disjointed,
hey, we're
yeah.
about to fight. Loading screen,
Yeah.
loading screen, loading screen, loading screen.
Yep.
Loading screen.
Fight.
Loading screen fight.
Late for school.
But then
You
we
forgot your pants.
we
I don't need my pants.
you need your pants.
No, I don't. Take you to school.
Not unless you're wearing pants.
You
Jeff,
haven't
get
seen
your
my
pants on.
You haven't seen my school.
Put your pants back on.
This is my school.
Big boy pants.
Time for roll call.
You left your pants in those crates, and you have to use these keys to get them out.
Okay, all right, $250 a try.
Yeah.
I'll eventually get some more fucking school pants.
Oh,
guys-
Jed
you guys-
was the last character.
Do you guys ever hallucinate when you wake up?
What?
I'm still.
What?
I fell asleep on the couch last night, and I saw something very strange when I woke up.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Are you
Okay.
sure that you were actually awake and not just like having like the last moments of a dream and then you woke
I
up?
was definitely like seeing what was around me. There was just something superimposed on top of it.
Okay, yeah.
It was really weird and unpleasant.
So I get sleep paralysis
Oh,
from
no.
time to time. Less so. It used to happen a lot, and it doesn't happen as much anymore.
Is this
and
the same
I've-
thing as night terrors, or is that different?
No, night terrors is like you're screaming and
Yes.
going fucking wild.
Yes.
Sleep paralysis is like you feel like you are awake,
Oh.
but you're actually not. Or
Okay.
in some cases, your mind is awake, but not enough to where your body can move because your body paralyzes
Okay.
itself
So
when you
like-
sleep.
You start panicking because you feel trapped.
Yeah.
I see.
And you feel like you can't breathe enough.
Ugh.
Like, so it's like this feeling of like, I can't, my breath is really shallow. I cannot take the deep breath I'm trying to take. and I'm just here. So it's happened to me so frequently that now I recognize it exactly for what it is, except I always try. So the thing I try to do now is to try to rock back and forth. And I always feel like my eyes are open, but then it isn't until I actually wake up for real that I realize, no, none of that was real because I was seeing my bedroom from when I was a kid or some other place I lived, or like that was not even the bedroom, or, like, or whatever. So now it's like I feel like I'm trying to rock back and forth, and if I can rock and get up onto my side, that will wake me up. And now I've started to whine and moan a little bit with the hope that my wife will hear me so that she can wake me up.
Like shake you awake.
Yeah, exactly.
Free you from the tyranny of your unconsciousness.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so that now happens to me probably once every couple of months. But it used to be I would have it every night for a month and stuff like that. And it was before I had a handle on what it was. So every time it would be different. Every time I would be convinced I wasn't going to be able to breathe.
I've come to a decision about brains.
Okay.
They're bad.
They're bad.
They're awful.
They're out to mess you up.
Very bad.
No, they are terrible.
They're the
at
number
a lot
one
of stuff.
enemy of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyway, Marvel Capcom.
Yeah, talking about that made my skin hot, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I'm over here now just like,
yeah, like now
Yeah.
I'm reliving the thing that happened last night. It's not fun.
But you know what is fun?
Yeah?
The gem system in Marvel Capcom
Oh,
Infinite.
good. Please tell me more about the gems that you're talking to your fighting game
there's a power
characters. I
stone,
really care.
and you
I wanna hear
can
about
just make it say Power Stone over and over again.
Excuse me, they're not gems.
Sorry.
They are
jewels?
stones.
They're
Stones.
stones.
Wait, are
Big
they
difference?
They're not.
They're
They're not
they are the
Infinity
Infinity
gems.
Yeah, from the Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. Don't think Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
No,
It's
there's
not
only
those
6 of them.
gems.
Okay.
And you get them all right away.
okay.
Think Marvel think Marvel superheroes.
Yeah, I
the arcade
I
game.
immediately assumed microtransactions.
No.
It's a dirty word. Yeah, like
Yeah.
don't say gems around the Capcom offices. They don't like it.
Yeah.
It's basically
It's that, I mean, also it's their fault.
yeah, totally.
Self-inflicted on
sure.
that.
Fair.
So the way the game mechanically is different, wherein instead of having your point character and 2 backup characters that you can tag in or use as an assist at any time, you have 2 characters, and when you hit the tag button, they'll run in, even if you're doing like a combo. So you start a combo, you hit your switch button, your partner will come in. So there's no more
And continue
assists
the combo.
and continue
as well.
the combo. But now you have these gems. So there's 6 of them. They each do a different. So if you tap the button, they each have a different active ability. Like one will shoot a projectile, like a universal just little projectile that'll fire. One will pull the enemy closer to you. One will make you like do a dash. They do various things, and then they each have a super kind of associated with them with its own meter. That'll do kind of a more powered up version, like the space gem. So the normal for the space gem is it'll pull the enemy closer to you. And the super is it will create a box around the enemy that they can't move out of. So if you pick a
certain amount of
team
time,
like Hulk and Hagar, who are, your big kind of burly throw characters, you trap them in that box. Now the enemy has to worry about not being able to just like super jump over you and dash away.
Yeah.
So it really kind of acts as a third character / assist
That
system.
sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool,
I
actually.
guess.
Like you can have. There's so much room for experimentation. Like, and he just mentioned, 2 characters that have like command grabs. If you put somebody in that box with that space gem or whatever, like it really like puts pressure on people. But you could have a different gem and have a completely different play style.
Do you
with those
pick
2
a gem
characters.
per character, or do
No,
you pick
it's
2
just
characters
one-
and 1 gem?
2 characters,
gem.
1 gem.
Okay.
And then they
favorite
showed
video.
off the 6th gem, which
Soul
is
gem,
really fucked up. And it's the soul gem. So the active it does like a whip attack that steals a little bit of HP if it hits.
Okay, yeah.
And then the super version of it works where if one of your characters is dead, you activate the super, they come back to life with like 25% HP
I
or
want to say 15
something,
or something, but
and are on the screen at the same time, and you control both of them.
it's crazy.
What?
It's crazy and it's awesome.
And then they went a
Like
step,
same
same motions.
stick controls both
Yep.
characters at the same movements.
Yep.
Weird.
Yeah.
And so they were showing off, they're like, check this out. And they did it on a team with Firebrand and Morgan, who each have a super that already creates a clone of themselves. So they, at one point, had 4 characters on the screen at once with
pretty
this. It uses a ton of resources. It uses your super gem attack, which you can kind of only do once a match. And then it uses, 2 bars of of actual meter. So it's not like it's going to happen often. And it only lasts like 20 seconds or something, the soul gem super, and then the character dies again.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, so they die again. They don't go. You can't tag them back in after that. They're just, it resurrects them temporarily.
I don't know.
I think it was like a.
I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I think it was a temporary. You got 20 seconds to fuck shit up.
Okay.
I think they mentioned at one point it was longer, but they found it unbalanced, so they had to keep nerfing it. But I'm really excited to see how that game gets cracked open in the first like couple weeks since it's out. Like, I'm sure there's going to be some bullshit that people are going to find that looks completely broken.
Oh yeah.
And then a week later they're going to find.
They
some
had
other
somebody
bullshit.
who's very well versed in the game come in and do some combos for like the GameSpot team. They were recording footage, and it was just like a 200 hit combo with like Jetta, and it was just ridiculous shit going on. It was or Dormammu. It was amazing. It was fun to watch. That game is like really easy to get into as well, because they've got the auto attack or the auto combo. And you just mash out square and hit them 4 times, launch them up, follow them up, another few hits in the air, bounce them down on the ground just by mashing one button, which is pretty.
And
cool.
then you can call in your assist and
Yeah.
just keep the combo going.
Yeah.
And then easy super motions as well. It's easy to mash stuff out.
It makes
and have
sense
fun.
for that. When you think about like, hey, we've got all these Marvel characters, like maybe someone who is not a fighting game wizard might
Yeah.
want to buy this game.
Totally.
I think the previous Marvel games have not been friendly, or
No.
Marvel vs. Capcom anyway, have not been friendly to that type of player. Someone who just goes like, I love the Wolverine.
This one definitely seems more accessible than 3.
Yeah.
You think they'll just turn all that stuff off in tournaments?
No.
No. It's none of that stuff is going to be so
Like those types of combos are not like
overpowered.
optimized, right? Like
yeah.
they're not going to do the most.
Like,
amount
if
of
you know how to
damage.
play the game, you could
Yeah.
do a better combo than
Yeah.
what they're going to make the auto combo.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like our experience watching Dan play Soul Calibur bears out how fucking annoying just
Yeah.
somebody mashing buttons can be.
But that's, but
or how
also,
much it can disrupt like what you're trying to do.
I think the other thing is, though, in that case, like, there's only one auto combo, and you'll know what to look for after you see it once.
Yeah.
So,
Also, Dan
you know,
wasn't playing against like competitive
Yeah.
fighting
Yeah.
game players
Yeah.
who can more easily take advantage of spam.
Somebody mashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
So I'm
Persona
excited.
had an auto combo, similar
all
situation.
the
and
Arc
it
Sys
never
games
felt,
now have it, and they balance it in different ways. Where it's like sometimes you'll do 10% less damage if you choose the auto combo mode, or you'll take more damage or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of my concerns with that game have been alleviated. They have already updated the art a little bit. I saw some side by sides of like the E3 footage versus now, and it looks better. Still,
Yeah, did you guys see the new Chun-Li?
yeah,
we did. Yeah.
she's okay.
Yeah.
She's normal looking now.
Yeah, the
Normal
footage got out there. She looks fine.
Yeah.
She looks like a Chun-Li auto.
Yeah. A lot of people just like tear that game apart for the models and how they look.
And
Like
honestly,
stills,
to
like
a
they
point-
don't look great for
No.
sure. But like in motion, that game looks really good with like all the particle effects
Yes.
and stuff. It's a looker.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm excited to play it. That's
good.
Have they said when that's September?
Yeah,
pretty
they
soon,
didn't give it a date.
It's
Yeah,
next
I
month,
think it's- yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Speaking of games made by Capcom that
Yeah.
look pretty good that I went to Capcom to play with Jason.
Yes.
We went to play Monster Hunter World last
Yeah,
week.
we did. Actual hands-on
Yeah.
time
We
with
killed
Monster Hunter
some
World.
monsters.
Did you kill a
We
monster?
hunted some monsters. We killed a few monsters.
We
Did
did.
you hunt a world?
No.
No, we hunted monsters in a
World
world.
hunted.
Okay, all right,
Us.
great.
That thing seems all right.
Yeah,
That's
this
Monster
is,
Hunter.
So like
It is
after
Monster Hunter.
after seeing the E3 trailer and the gameplay demos that they had, it seemed like a big departure from like Monster Hunter to me anyway, and I was expecting a much larger departure, but actually getting my hands on it, like dude, that's
Yeah,
Monster Hunter.
even me who has played like collectively maybe 8 hours of Monster Hunter games previously.
Yeah.
I played 10 minutes of that thing. I was like, ooh, this is Monster Hunter.
Yeah, once I
Like,
got
it's
my
not a
hands
bad
on
thing.
the controller,
Oh, Monster Hunter. Oh,
those things-
Nobody told me this was Monster
oh
Hunter.
my God.
Those
What
things-
is that stench?
Those things have an odor
Yeah.
about them.
So right out of the gate, if you do not like Monster Hunter, this is probably
that's-
not going to change.
That's kind of
your
what I'm
mind,
getting
right?
at. I mean, it seems like they have streamlined some stuff about it, and
there are
made-
a lot
made-
of like quality of life
yes,
improvements.
yes, definitely. They pointed out a lot of those, but at the core, still that.
Yep.
Okay.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
Right. But
Like,
you know,
in
Do you
terms
think
of-
the
in
things
terms
that
of the
they're
big loop-
changing and simplifying will turn off existing Monster Hunter
that's
players?
I don't
kind of
know.
a worry, but like it didn't really affect me at all.
I don't
Okay.
see. I mean, there's always the potential for people to be like, this is too easy. They've simplified too much.
Sure.
Like if I want to suffer for my Monster Hunter like that, I guess I could see that reaction.
A lot of people,
but,
wear that badge. You know,
But it's-
A lot of
but
people are
it's-
used to suffering quite a bit in Monster Hunter, for sure. So
I mean, is the waypoint stuff new or better?
so
is, right?
the waypoint stuff. What do you mean?
Like the being able to set, because you can set waypoints on a monster, on other people on your
Oh
team.
yeah, so this is
and it
another
will-
quality of life
and
thing.
it will dynamically move around, not just on your map, but you've got these little firefly things
Yeah.
that act as an objective indicator.
okay.
They're these little sparkly things that fly in a line toward where they want you to go, and like are very aware of the environment. So like they'll go up things you can climb and like around.
So if you tag a monster, you'll always
yes,
know the
so that's
path
the thing.
to the
You can, if you can like tag a monster on the map and be across the map and just follow those fireflies the entire length of the map,
or
without having to
fast travel to like one
or
of
yes,
the
or that's the thing. You can fast travel all over the map now. You can change weapons out mid hunt.
Yep.
Which you could never do before. Like it's
That's
just
a big
stuff like
thing.
that. It's,
Yeah.
It's stuff like, okay, if I don't like the weapon I picked or it's not ideal for the situation, I don't have to do this whole quest over from the beginning. I can just swap it out right now.
Yeah, it's
So,
seamless.
like, if people-
like there's no like loading between zones or anything like that as well. So
If people,
Cool,
get, if people
yeah.
get mad about that stuff,
yeah.
I see them.
big
as
I always felt like the
improvements.
loading between zone thing.
well, I
always
think
seemed
that was just a
clunky.
handheld
Yeah,
thing.
no,
I think it was just the handhelds couldn't handle the size of the maps, but
Potentially. I mean,
Even
this,
before
no, this
those
came
were
out
handhelds,
like
yeah.
originally as like a PlayStation 2
Yeah.
game, so
Yeah,
it
that's
should have
true.
been able to.
oh, that's
PlayStation
right.
2 less powerful than current handhelds.
God, I totally forgot there were PS2 Monster Hunters.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where they started that thing.
Yeah, but the entire map is one giant thing.
Yeah.
Which
Good.
Which is
I-
great.
I
Day-night
felt-
cycle as well.
Yeah. I felt like it made it easier to follow the monster around because, with those discrete zones, it would hit a barrier and just vanish.
Right.
And then you'd have to like, get over there and kind of figure out where it went there. But here, you just kind of watch where it runs,
Sure.
and you can just follow it.
I'm excited that they've streamlined a lot of this. I'm somebody who has never touched a Monster Hunter game, and maybe like this is a good. Maybe it won't draw in people who already know they don't like Monster
Yeah.
Hunter, but maybe they'll tap into that audience of people like me who have kind of looked at it from a distance and been like,
It feels like Monster Hunter has been on the cusp of some kind of breakthrough for the past few games where it has been like there have been more people teetering like that.
Yeah,
Where they've been
yeah,
like,
yeah.
the people who talk about Monster Hunter sure talk about it in a way that seems like I would like it, but at the same time, this game's insane.
it has
So-
it's
It's
some of the same
it's a
conversations
tough
of like the
track, for sure.
Souls games.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, what if in some ways, like, you could point to just like the way those games got popular as like paving the way, not for these games to exist, because obviously they existed before, but like for players to find a new way to connect with something like Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Huh.
I would say stuff like the stamina management and the dodging, like in the animation, like the tells on attacks and stuff like that, is very Dark Souls. Like that maps almost 1-to-1 for
Yeah,
me.
like that's when I
It's
was
very
when I was
Monster
seeing the world's
or that's
demonstration.
it's very Monster Hunter, and Dark Souls lifted it, and but that's the thing. Yeah, I was able to go the opposite direction
Right.
and get an entry point that way.
Yeah.
It certainly seems like a really like accessible way. They're holding your hand almost
Yeah,
throughout.
and there's like, I don't know if this was common in the previous ones, but there's a bunch of like healing plants scattered all over the place, like ways to get your health back without having because
that is
like
kind of new.
stop
Yeah, there's
code,
also
right?
things like paralysis frogs or something. You walk up to it
Right,
and you
it's like-
activate it and it'll
there's tons
explode.
of stuff in the environment. that you can
environment, yeah,
use that kinda
environmental
help you out.
traps and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you can
if
trap them.
if you
Yeah.
have one of the monsters like knock down this tree, it'll like loosen all these vines, and then it acts like a big trap. If it
Yeah.
steps over it again, it's snared. It makes you use the environment. A
Yeah,
ton
but
more.
like in the past, if you didn't bring enough like healing items or like whetstones for your weapon, you were just kind of screwed, right?
I mean, you could find things to like combine out in the field.
Okay. But it's very accessible now. That stuff is just everywhere, and it's labeled very clearly. And there's that lady who's
Yep.
like, they've got voiceover. She's telling you
She's
what
shattering
to do
all the
constantly.
time.
there-
It's
is
like
there
you're
s-
walking through the bushes, and she's like, "That would probably be a good place to hide."
Yeah. Is there still a time limit on the hunts?
Yes,
There is.
Yes.
That was one of the things that I feel was like, to me, it felt oppressive.
A little bit.
Over the
one-
line oppressive.
I think
When I tried it a very long time ago.
think
I
the-
cannot.
The one we recorded, we've got footage of this we're going to put up, but it was like 25 minutes, I think.
It was more than enough time.
It was,
but it was always
easily
that
enough.
feeling of like, I
even-
ran out of stuff. I need to stop and gather resources. I need to stop and cook. I need to stop and do this. Oh wait, this timer's still running. Oh, I fucked myself. Like, and granted, I never played it enough to get good at any of that stuff, and I'm sure it's less of a problem once you do that. But it was that was on the list of things that was just like, I'm just not going to play
seeing
this.
that timer up there.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, like,
That
this
the
is still
timer's
Monster
never
Hunter.
Yeah.
Still got
been
that.
oppressive to me, and I'm not saying like, oh, get better at the
Oh
fucking
yeah,
game,
yeah. No,
but,
I'm sure. Like
I
like
can't think of a time in which
Okay.
like time like ran out, unless it was a situation where I knew I was like way underleveled.
So I feel like every time I've tried to play Monster Hunter, I have always run out of time.
That's crazy.
Because I barely know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing, and the game would never, ever have enough to tell you like, hey, here's what you're doing wrong, you dumbass.
Right.
So it always felt like ran out of time again. I can't advance. Like I can eventually kill these things, but I guess I'm just taking a little bit too long.
A wise
fuck
man
this.
once told me, "What if you get good at the game?"
That's why I play Sonic Mania, a game where I have no problem.
There's some new things thrown in, like they had a ghillie suit, right? So you could actually equip this fucking ghillie suit and hide in the bushes. They had another one which gave you like a float ability, like you would strap it on and jump off a cliff, and then you can kind of float down.
I must have missed that
and then
stuff.
attack, and then mount the monster as well. So they had a few different things. That's totally new to the series. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
But like when I say it's still Monster Hunter, I mean the core of it is like pick up your quests in the base camp, go
Yeah.
out, kill the monster, carve it up, bring its parts back, and
Right.
craft armor out of it. Repeat. Like
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
entire game.
The open world stuff, like where you're not doing a hunt, you can go into these areas and just like randomly encounter monsters, and that's nothing new.
yeah.
But
You could go out and like grind.
Resources and
Or
find
grind more
stuff.
monsters, like grind without having a specific quest to find the specific monster. You could just go out there and look for big ones and
Yeah.
kill them and get their resources if you wanted to.
I'm always looking for big ones.
so in that trailer, they really pushed the like the hierarchy of the monsters, like some
Like a
eat
food
other.
chain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the E3 demo made it seem almost like there's some ecological aspect or like food chain sort of thing where because monsters will randomly wander into your fight.
Yep.
And maybe get involved in the fight. Like maybe they'll attack the monster you're attacking if it's something they want to eat.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So
But I've had one instance where I killed one of the I think aponots. They're the very basic like cow things that you just slice open and you get fucking meat from them, right? So I killed one of those guys and carved him up, and then all of a sudden a bunch of like carrion birds like flew in and started picking the remains, and you could kill those as well.
Okay.
So there is like a
that's
huge
neat.
chain.
That's neat. And there was another monster they wouldn't let us take footage of because I guess it wasn't quite finished, but they referred to it as like the apex predator of that map.
The Randy Orton
Oh, no,
of
we
Monster
got-
Hunter world.
They were referring to the Rathalos. Actually,
Did we? I thought they said we couldn't record that. We
No,
got some
we-
footage
no,
of
yeah,
that?
we got
okay.
that. We
Yeah,
totally got
that thing
that.
was big and mean and shitty, and it killed me.
yeah, the big red dragon.
But it was cool. Yeah, it was neat to think like, okay, this thing is the king monster of this area, and this thing shits all over every other monster here.
Rathalos is a staple. That dude's a mofo.
Yeah.
But no, I had a good time. How about you?
Yeah,
Brad?
I enjoyed it. Like this is my shot, and probably a lot of people's shot to enjoy Monster Hunter. Like this
It'll
is
be
it.
mine.
This is it.
It's been
this
getting
is-
it feels like the past few games have been building up to this,
Right,
where
right.
like more and more people have made the switch.
Yes.
They've let Monster Hunter into their lives.
or tried to.
Or tried
Like,
to.
I've played the last 2
yeah.
or 3 3DS games, and like I just can't handle playing it on that. Like with those awkward controls,
Sure,
like tiny
yeah,
screen,
yeah.
like it's just not pleasant. So like,
I almost passed over generations completely.
Yeah.
That was the last 3DS one released here.
Yeah.
And you're playing
So-
the Switch one, right?
No, I've got a demo of it. I
Oh,
just-
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I played
Yeah.
that, but
But
I'm
like-
not going to import it.
like here you go, like nice graphics, big screen,
Yeah.
like good controller, like this. If basically, I guess what I mean is like if Monster Hunter doesn't do it for you in this form, like it's not going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Because they've removed all the barriers as far as I can see. So
Hey, good on them.
Yeah.
Like, that seems like that's the work they needed to do
Yeah.
to kind of really set this thing up.
I'm
So,
I'm excited to either get super deep into Monster Hunter or never play it again.
like I know it's been like something. It feels like a nut they've been trying to crack for
Yeah.
at least the last 5 years of this thing of just like, how the fuck do we get anyone in the United States to care about Monster Hunter?
Yeah.
Like we produce these videos that break down why it's so good. Like what the fuck do we have to do
Yeah.
to make this work?
And there's
And
some crazy
They've getting closer the
Yeah.
past couple of games.
There's some crazy depth in there. I mean, like, so Jason was saying, like, a lot of the weapons in this are lifted straight out of previous games, which
Oh,
is maybe
sure,
kind of a
yeah.
bummer. But, like, the thing I have always heard from people who I know who are way into these games is that, like, every weapon or every weapon set is like a game unto itself.
Right.
Like, that's how.
They're extremely different.
Like,
from
that's
one
how-
Again,
that's
like
how-
the Dark Souls kind
Yeah,
of.
but even more,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like just in terms of how like deep and varied each move set is. Like, there's a weapon in this thing which is actually a horn, like a musical horn.
the hunting horn. Yeah.
And I guess it's not a new thing, but I'd never seen it before. And it's like the ocarina from Ocarina of Time. Like there are preset songs, and when you attack with it, you're also queuing up musical notes on a staff.
Yep.
Oh.
and then you execute, and it plays that song, and then it like casts different spells or causes different buffs or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like it's a crazy amount of detail for each weapon. Like it's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have they said when that's coming out?
End of the year?
No,
Say, or is it next year?
I want to say 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put that video up. That thing is kind of cool.
Yeah, of course, some footage. We'll talk over it and say, hey, here's us.
What are you guys going to talk about?
Monster Hunter.
Monsters.
Weird.
And the hunting of them.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that makes sense now that you've said it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that would convey what I was trying to get across. Yeah. Jason, you play?
Actually, kind of more Monster Hunter.
Got home from that meeting and played some different Monster
I
Hunter?
did actually. So actually, the night before the meeting, I installed Monster Hunter Online. That's the Chinese free-to-play version of Monster Hunter on the PC. That looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then I had to uninstall it because it looks too fucking good, and really makes me want Monster Hunter.
Is there
World right now?
Did they get the PSO2 treatment of like fan translations and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can
and I guess
play it in
it's been
English.
like approved by Tencent or whoever the fuck owns them or something. I don't
Safe
know.
to assume it's Tencent.
Yeah, they own a lot of stuff. But another Monster Hunter-ish game, Dauntless, came into the founders like alpha right now.
I saw that was going into something. Alpha beta, something like that.
It's early.
Yeah.
That is an early ass game for sure. A lot of UI elements, still being worked on or just like not there. It's kind of unstable at first.
Yeah.
People that buy into it don't expect like a fully fleshed out.
I thought I saw people
game,
saying
but-
the buy-in is like $80 right now.
Oh no!
Is that not
That's
the
for the
case?
like highest.
Oh, that's for the
tier.
top
Yeah,
tier?
you can
Okay.
get by just paying like $40 or whatever
Okay.
to get access to that.
And just for people that don't know, it's a free-to-play Monster Hunter like.
Yeah, definitely Western. It's got a style to
So
it.
not
like it-
not free to play currently. It's like
Or it
Founders,
will be.
like the,
will be free
buy
to
your
play
way
when
in
it's,
kinda,
like out.
Correct. I like their style. It's a little like cartoony, like Fortnite has like kind of the angular, cartoonish
Or maybe
look.
a little like gigantic-ish. something
Sure.
Like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it looks good, and when it's running well, it plays really well. Feels good. They've only got like 4 different weapons in there right now. Pretty different from one another. But it's early.
Yeah.
Seriously. I've encountered a lot of bugs with it and whatnot. But
I was watching you play. Some of it looked like there was some frame rate issues.
it seemed to be
majority
just
of it.
that day.
Okay.
I think because when I got back at home that night, it seemed to be running just fine. But it was moving at a slideshow at one point. But if it means anything, like I bought that big Founders Edition because I really like what I see of that game, and they've got a lot of good ideas. Can't wait to see.
Seems like they're big Monster Hunter fans.
Yep, totally. Yeah, I talked with them a lot at E3, and they just seem like genuine fans. So, I'm backing that.
Cool.
For sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I forgot. I just want to mention briefly. I played some MatterFall
Yeah.
because you didn't like it.
What do you think?
I like it. Yeah.
Okay.
I totally get what you're saying though. Like with all the platformy stuff being on the shoulder buttons is just like this weird mental disconnect.
Yeah.
Like the entire first level, I kept hitting X to jump and wondering. Like my brain kept going, why am I not jumping? I'm hitting X. Like, oh wait, right? Because
It
it's
almost
on
feels like they
R1.
should have just let you jump with X if you wanted to.
Yeah, I guess, but
even though that's a suboptimal control, you need to
it's
be
got dual
running and
joystick,
shooting. It's a dual joystick game, so you need to have all those things on the shoulder buttons.
Yeah,
like that's sensible.
Yeah,
but I feel like even once I kind of got used to the controls, like it's just what you do in that game, I just didn't enjoy it that much.
Like getting into it,
sliding through the bullets to freeze the enemies, shoot them.
I mean, I
drawing
think
the platformers with the matter gun, like just none of that stuff felt good enough.
I think you kind of have to care about your score to some degree.
Yeah,
to get much out of that game.
Rarely me.
I think you talk
points, man.
That's a meta point. That's a
Don't
higher layer.
Don't you want points?
Not in a per game. I'm not a leaderboard guy.
What if those points?
Points are points.
What if those points lead to meta points?
Exactly.
Bragging points.
All points lead to meta points because it's the meta. It's knowing how many points you're worth personally makes you cognizant of how many points you're worth socially.
I think. Well,
let me tell you about
I don't want
my form of government.
Okay.
It's all points based.
All right.
High scores. Like the leader will obviously have the highest score, and everyone works their way down. So probably like Chief of Staff Steve Wiebe, kind of. I'm thinking,
probably smart. Yeah.
Because if you're good at getting points, you're good at
everything else. Yeah. I spent a good long time being good at getting points in games where that was all there was for points.
Yeah.
And at some point,
See, I didn't even grow up with that, and I love points.
but see, like that. The thing about the trajectory of video games and points, though, is that like points were all there were, and then at some point, points didn't even exist anymore. And then at some point, they were like, "What if lives didn't exist anymore?" And then now they're like, "We're trying to make new old games, so we brought back points."
yeah,
Like it's
well, and then there was like gamer score was a big deal.
You know, that's a lasting that's an institution.
Yes,
A number you can point to and go, "Yes, here's my worth as a human."
I think every video game should have points.
That's your full platform.
Yeah, I mean, you can you know customize it for different games and stuff, but I think points are an important video game institution.
What if the point is to have? What about games where the only score is a timer and you want to finish fast? Is that like
That's like points.
It's like an opposite of points.
Saying
It's
you
like you
got-
want to lower. It's like golf.
Saying
Yeah.
you got to go fast.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like Superman for the Atari 2600. Let's talk about it. Lex Luthor blows up a bridge.
You get a point every time you go through a ring.
That's Scoundrel.
No, that's Superman 64. That's a nightmare.
All right. Good points, everyone.
Yeah.
Points.
I think that game's cool. Like the whole dashing into guys to stun them, because I'm sure you noticed like you get more points when they're stunned.
Go on.
they're worth more when they're stunned, when you kill
Yeah.
them while they're stunned.
Yeah.
But it's short enough that you're kind of having to dash around, and it's an interesting take on crowd control, I guess, is what I'm getting
Right.
at. Like, they'll throw 30, 40 enemies at you at a time, and you're kind of dashing around between them to try to keep them stunned and kill them while they're stunned to get the most points, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, I like the movement once I kind of adapted to the shoulder button stuff. Also, I love that Housemarque uses the same voiceover for the multipliers in every one of
nice.
their
Yeah.
games.
It's
the same-
It's a good sound effect.
Same lady doing the same, like,
Yeah.
multiplier up, like,
Yeah.
coming out of your controller in
Yeah.
Nex Machina, in this, like, I might have been in Resogun.
Yeah. That's
I
where
think it was the same one in Resogun, right? Like, it's just
there's concepts and mechanics for scoring
Yeah.
that they have like brought across all
yes,
all of their games.
I
in
love
terms
that
of just,
they're
like
I love that
multipliers. and-
totally that they've got these consistent elements
Yeah.
in multiple games. Like, it's I don't like this as much as Nex Machina so far, but
Yeah.
I'm getting into it. I think it's kind of cool. All right, before we move on.
Oh yeah, we should talk about
to
the
news of the world.
we should talk about free trials.
Yeah,
we got
you,
free
you
trials.
Got, you got something you wanted to mention?
Yeah. We now have a free trial for premium membership.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast and you want to see you could be watching this podcast live.
Woo!
What? That's crazy.
You can see like what we're doing.
That's
we're
right.
doing crazy
Which,
things.
I mean, you might be watching this video when it's not live, and
True.
you get to still see him doing those crazy things. But if you want to see it as it's happening,
If you watch it live, it's
these
like,
moves,
it's like you're here.
yeah, and all the other
the
video
room.
that we put up on the site. There's just a ton of stuff we put up every week that you can check out with that 7-day trial. No strings attached on that one. So
Really?
you can head over to giantbomb.com/upgrade and you can find out more about that. You can sign up, you can upgrade, all that other stuff, and give it a shot for a week. See what you think. We think you'll probably like it. The people that like it a lot.
it's free premium.
See? There you go.
Dare you to sign up for the trial.
Yeah, so give that a look. Also, we made it easier to get gift codes. So if you want to have someone get you a premium membership as a gift, you can tell them how to do it, and it won't involve them having to jump through a billion hoops to do so.
Give someone special.
Or give someone special the gift of premium access.
give someone special the gift of us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The gift that keeps on giving.
Tell your family to just get a different member of your family each to get you a year, and then you're set for life.
There you go.
Yeah. Depending on how big your family is / how long your life is.
Yes. I assume very big and very long.
I always assume that.
All right. Let's take a
gotta go.
quick break. Yes. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, news. Gamescom is starting. There is
What?
a fair amount of it. Gamescom is this week.
There's a fair amount of Gamescom.
Yeah. There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
What is that?
200 and something thousand
What does the name mean?
people. worth of
Gamescom invention.
But
The concept is that there's a convention
Mm-hmm.
of people
Yeah.
interested in video games in Germany.
okay.
There you go. That's what I got for you. I
Mhm.
don't know. Did it start?
I think today is the day
I
it
saw-
actually
yeah.
starts.
I saw shots of Angela Merkel and cosplayers together.
Oh, yeah, I
assume
saw that.
I assume that it must be in full swing
Mm-hmm.
at this point.
Legendary characters like Yarn Boy.
Sure. Everybody's favorite. But yeah, like there's nothing huge, but there's a bunch of little stuff trickling out of there. Remember when a couple weeks ago, a month ago, something like that, when THQ Nordic was talking about having a new IP at this thing?
Yes.
They announced it. I think it maybe came from a magazine that revealed it early, so they just decided to announce it, just like happened with Darksiders 3 a few months ago.
Oh, yeah.
But it's called Biomutant.
Biomutant.
That's not real. That's a 90s
Follow-up to
PC
BioFreaks?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the.
You do a backflip, you pick up a flute.
I think that's one of the characters that was in BioFreaks.
Spin-off of Bioforge, I think.
Mm-hmm. You do sick backflips.
Honestly, like the biggest claim to fame this thing has is it's apparently made by former Just Cause developers.
Huh.
Okay.
It's coming out of I didn't realize this had happened, but
which Just Cause?
Not 3.
Okay.
1 and 2. It's made in Sweden.
Yeah.
There's a studio in Sweden called Experiment 101 making it, which apparently was founded by people from Avalanche. I didn't realize Avalanche had lost enough people to go found a new studio. But
it only takes like 4, and then you just hire a bunch of new people, to say like,
fair.
we have the leadership of some of the,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Started with 1, they got fired. Like they just rolled down the hill, kept picking up new people.
That's
It's
right.
like, hey, get out of here with me.
But I'm sure all the marketing
Start a sandwich shop.
all the marketing will lead
All right.
from the makers of Just Cause, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, this thing sounds cool. If you remember, like when they first teased it, they said it was open world and post-apocalyptic and kung fu.
Yeah.
And Kung Fu.
That appears to be the case.
My favorite adjective.
Kung Fu. Yeah.
How Kung Fu-y is it?
I mean, the announcement trailer is just CG, but like you appear to be some kind of rodent-like creature with a sword and your kung fu powers.
Kung Fu-y.
Open world.
Yes.
Mouse. Kung Fu. Sword.
Or like a raccoon or something.
Yeah. I saw the word raccoon get
What is
thrown around a
what is
little
the thing for what is that Dota character? What kind of animal is that?
Hong Kong
Pangolin.
A pangolin. Maybe it's a pangolin. I don't know.
Maybe Pangolin's very hot right now.
Obviously, yes. It's 2017 is the year of the pangolin.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This thing sounds cool because like it sounds like they're like the title is very descriptive because there's some genetic mutation system with the character where
So
you can
theoretically make a lot of changes to.
Yeah, you can mutate a bunch of parts of your character to change how it plays. Like this says like claws and tails and wings and like all kinds of weird shit.
Like Spore.
Kind of.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh yeah.
9 dicks. That's gonna. What do I got to do?
What kind of power would that give you?
A whole lot.
Oof, maybe I shouldn't ask that question.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to
More
say.
than 3. I mean that's 3 times as many as John Cena has. So.
Whoa. Let's move on. More than I ever wanted to know about John Cena.
You can't see him.
Hard to say since they haven't actually shown the game, just this CG trailer. But yeah, if that system is like really freeform and extensive, and you can actually like mutate the shit out of your character to make all kinds of weird combinations, like
EVO.
Yeah, I was gonna say not since Evo Search for Eden.
That sounds kind of awesome. Like this says that there are psi mutations, so you can give yourself like levitation and telekinetic powers.
All right, okay.
There are robotic limbs, so you can just straight up hack a limb off and put a robot part on there instead.
Oh, that'd be kind of neat if it was like, hey, you can you can't upgrade it because it's just a set piece that you're hacking on, but it might be better than what you have right now.
Yeah.
Find another raccoon with a better arm.
It sounds like a neat system if they do it right. I could be into that.
And if this is kind of a big open world thing with a little bit of Just Cause in it, then there could be something kind of cool.
Yeah, it sounds.
Kung Fu seems to imply not rocket launchers and blowing up every building and all that other stuff, but fuck, who knows?
There is shooting. There is shooting.
Hell yeah! It's a video game.
Check the box.
Are there points?
You guys like guns?
I mean, look, that's a really complicated question.
Sure.
I don't know if we're really willing to devote the next several hours to this, but but no.
I don't like guns, but I like rocket launchers. And
do you like open world post-apocalyptic kung fu Fable guns?
Fable guns, no. The guns in Fable were always terrible.
Yeah, that's true. Freaking blunderbuss.
Yeah. Old guns, they're bad.
Grape shot.
New guns,
Except
better
the
than old
M1
guns.
Garand.
That's no.
It's a good gun.
Yeah, they're saying that there's like a kung fu melee system, but there's also shooting and like nimble, acrobatic, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
like I don't know. That mutation stuff sounds really cool to me. And when you say Just Cause people, like I'm immediately interested.
Yeah,
and seeing
maybe
what
it'll
that's
have
about.
8 trillion. That would be a good one for like a Just Cause style multiplayer. If every character is like a little different. Getting 1,000 of them together to get in bad car races or whatever the fuck you do in Just Cause 2 multiplayer.
What if another character can mutate your character and fuck them up
Yeah.
permanently?
Mutate your legs off.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Like an M. Dickey game.
Yeah. Remember let's say 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
No, I do not.
When those SNES Classic pre-orders went up.
Oh yeah,
And then they all got canceled.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo was like, hey, we'll have info later on next month about when you can pre-order those. Apparently that day was today.
Yeah.
Because they all went up overnight
right.
and all sold out
Yeah.
way before anybody woke up to buy them.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember when last week I was like, fucking who needs one of these goddamn things? And then do you remember last night when I saw the announcement and I went and got one?
Fuck you.
Wait, did you really?
Yeah.
You got one?
Son of a
I got
bitch.
one.
Wow. You happened to be awake at 2:30 in the morning when they went up?
Usually, yeah.
Wow.
I got one of that first round ones, and I didn't get the last one, and I'm furious.
Well, so it was Best Buy and Amazon that went up overnight.
Yeah.
And of course, they both sold out within like
And then I
60
think
seconds.
GameStop is doing in-store pre-orders for
Is
their...
that what's happening? I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
on the bus in, I saw people saying like, "Hey, there's supposed to be news out of GameStop today about what they're doing." So is that confirmed?
Yeah, there were people.
you
There are people walking into those stores and pre-ordering them there. But they seem to know their quantities, and I saw something over. It's all on Twitter, so who knows? But I saw some people saying about 10 per store. So they're probably all gone by the time you hear this.
Yeah, probably.
If I get one, I get one. Like I can't hinge any sort of like hate or desire on this. Like I would like to play Star Fox 2. I think that thing seems interesting.
Sure.
For that one reason.
Yeah.
I was kind of intrigued by some of the stuff they announced, kind of under the hood.
Yeah.
Like they've got the rewind feature.
Yeah. So yeah. Let's talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
I found Kotaku has a hands-on report up. They apparently went and played one of these things, and yeah, this thing has some kind of rewind, but not like real-time rewind. It sounds like a weird system where you save a snapshot, it's got like save state type stuff, and then you have to load that state, and then you can back up from there, I think.
I'm not sure.
That seems like a really strange
It's not-
way to do it.
It is not a real-time, just like hit the shoulder button and jog back.
But there's a
type
specific button like that you have to hit.
Like they said, you have to reset the system and load a state to,
Really?
to access that rewind stuff.
In the SNES Classic?
That's my understanding.
So it's not a real. Okay, so
It's not a real-time rewind.
I thought it was my understanding
No,
that there's
that's
a
not what this-
dedicated button for
No, it's-
rewinding.
I could try to find that in this long-ass article here.
That's all
if
right.
I don't get one, I feel like I have two options.
Mm-hmm.
One, become
Killer
really
guy.
smart and figure out how to build one.
Uh-huh.
Or two, become really sneaky and figure out how to steal the plans on how to make one and then just build it.
Have you seen there are a lot of Chinese knockoff NES classic looking things?
Really?
You don't
That,
say.
that they're just like little Nintendo cases
Yep.
with like God knows what in them, Raspberry Pis, who knows, fucking just like another Famicom bootleg multi-cart nightmare.
Yeah.
And those flooded the market. Not even the same games, not the same quality of product. They're just like, we can make tiny Nintendos too, I guess. Real weird.
Yeah, that's right. So you remember on the NES how you could reset it and then you had like your suspend points at the menu?
Yeah.
That's how this works. You have to hit the reset button on this thing, go back to the menu, and then when you load one of the save states, it'll let you back up from that save state.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you still have to like get up and physically
Yeah.
walk over and press the button on the console.
Well,
to
the
do all
cables
that.
are short enough still that
Yeah.
you'll still
Now they're
be
5
close
feet.
enough.
Now they're 5 feet long.
Okay.
I think they were like 3 last time.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah.
If one of those crosses into my path in a way that makes me not have to go out of my way to pre-order or get one, I will happily get one. But I cannot justify like going out of my way to like, oh, I heard that they were doing this here and doing that. Like I'm not going to go hunt for them.
I'm not going to plan. I would certainly not.
I feel real dumb.
Plan my life around trying to pre-order one of these things.
$80.
I set up
I'm
alert.
gonna
I set up
play it
alerts
once.
from Best Buy, from Walmart.
Well, so some people were
GameStop.
pretty, because Amazon launched theirs as well, and apparently they launched it on a different like product code.
Yep.
So anyone who wanted a
An
reminder,
update.
Oh, I
never got
know.
one.
Oh yeah, I saw people saying that. That's pretty
So-
rotten.
I don't know what the actual answer is here. I feel like that retailers are not set up to properly signal when they take pre-orders. They're not set up to properly avoid people with bots. They are not equipped to handle situations where something like this is desirable. I mean, even like when it comes to like limited edition shoes and shit like that, like Nike launched their own app for it. There's like, hey, and at 7 a.m. in the later this week, we're going to be putting these shoes out. we'll send you a push notification if you hit here and then get in and get them, and maybe there's a drawing, maybe not. Like, you know, like they're having to just totally sidestep even their own website with their own fucking apps to try to like cater to lunatics.
That doesn't sound remotely like something Nintendo would do.
Oh no, but also maybe Amazon could do something for like, hey, we've found a better way to let you know about upcoming pre-order opportunities for stuff or whatever it is. The process sucks.
Yeah.
Is I guess all I'm saying. I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like there's no retailer that has figured this out to a point where like this seems like a sane experience.
I mean, this is such an outlier where it's this in demand and they're not going to make that many of them, you know? Like even with something like the Switch.
But also the other thing is because they've said they're going to make more,
like
I think there's still going to end up being more opportunities to get in on this thing.
Probably.
I don't
but
think
there's
it's
still
even
but
close
there
to
will
being
still definitely be a finite end of these things. Whereas, you know, like the Switch is going to get more common over time. You'll be able to find one eventually.
The Switch is like, you can find a Switch.
That's what I mean.
Right now,
we got there.
Yeah.
But like with this thing, people feel like if they miss it, it's gone because it is. You know. Like that's where the
and
that's
that
where
creates,
the extra anxiety
that creates the
comes
scarcity, which then leads to scalpers and resellers and bots, and they're creating the cult. They're signifying to that culture, to that aspect of buying hot shit to resell that hey, you should probably extra focus your efforts on this
or collect or whatever.
Yeah, and it just sucks all around. You know, people that want one of these things should be able to get one. Yeah. End of story. Like that's
I agree.
Like the chain, the path to get there obviously is long and fucked up. Like ticket scalping is still a real problem in a lot of cases too. Like no one ever really solved that. I don't know. This shouldn't be a problem in this day and age. It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb that this is even a story.
Well, they're still Target, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other retailers besides that haven't gone.
Toys R Us?
Keep your eyes open.
Toys R Us
yeah,
will
maybe.
probably go.
Yes.
Haven't gotten any alerts yet.
I'm sure, yes. I'm sure we will look forward to another 3 months of stories about people getting them or getting screwed or a secret cache of them being discovered or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, what was it? Someone was selling, someone like...
Amazon was doing...
like
that treasure truck
that would go around and sell the fucking like months after they were sold out,
like a month ago or less.
So did they just fucking Amazon, hold on to a bunch for this?
Apparently they've been sitting on a fucking warehouse full of these things.
Fuck that.
Or
shit.
Who knows how many they actually have?
They find a pallet of 30 of them and it's like, it's one per truck, whatever it is. But like, still, just fucking sell them.
Yeah.
We'll hold them back for fucking like, we wanted to have a special thing that drew attention to our retail store over the others. Like, just sell the fucking thing. Yeah. If you have the thing, sell the thing. If you don't have enough of the thing, be more transparent about the thing.
Yep.
Business 101.
No, that's Business 101 is don't tell anybody anything ever. It's a secret. It's a business secret.
You guys want to talk about Xbox?
Microsoft
has a whole bunch of middling news about the Xbox.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Xbox.
Out of Gamescom.
Yeah.
There's a Project Scorpio edition of the Xbox One X. It says Project Scorpio.
That sounds super special.
Apparently, it's got a different finish on it.
Whoa!
And it says Project Scorpio.
Just like they did the day one editions of
this is basically the day one edition of the Project Scorpio. Also, they started taking pre-orders for that.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
I did not get one of those.
I think you can.
Oh.
I don't think
you can still get one?
I don't think so. No, they were sold out.
Oh, did they sell out?
I checked, yeah.
I wonder I wonder what the supply for that is going to be like.
I don't know.
I think they're going to make enough for the people who really want
Probably.
them.
This thing...
It sure was not hard to get a PS4 Pro last year.
I feel like when you tie all this in with the Crackdown delay.
Yeah, so that's another thing. They delayed Crackdown to next year.
Spring, yeah. And spring, or was it just next year generically? Okay.
Spring 2018 is what they're saying.
Like I really feel for Microsoft in a way of like I feel like they're playing the hand they are dealt about as well as they can play it. And then it's like, oh, well, this game's not ready. It's getting delayed. Like, okay, well, full steam ahead on this other stuff. We'll figure it out. Like I feel like they're chugging along, but they cannot catch a break. And I as a result, I just don't see a great reason to buy a new the new Xbox.
Yeah.
Because like what was the other stuff they announced? Like they finally confirmed that ReCore Definitive Edition.
Yeah. So they talked about that. That's $20. It sounds like they're finishing the game.
Or free for
existing
Yeah,
owners?
if you
Right,
already
okay, I
own
was gonna
Recore,
say.
you're going to get all the updates.
That's
a
pretty
minute.
rad.
Yeah.
That game had promise. I don't know that it'd be worth returning to unless
They're adding the last bot, which was very conspicuously missing from the game. They're adding new environments, new dungeons, 3 new weapon modes, new gear for all the existing bots, new enemies.
Are they adding points?
A brand new adventure called Eye of Obsidian. I don't know if that's like a quest line or what that means exactly, but like
and points. Yeah.
it sounds like they're finishing the game. Like
That's a bad
I know,
definitive
straight up.
done.
But
Definitely
hey,
done this time.
This game that was like dramatically and obviously missing large parts when it initially released.
Yeah.
We've been nice enough to finish it for you, and you know what? You're gonna get it for free. Like, oh, thanks.
You got the early access version.
Yeah, basically. Like if they build it that way, maybe people would feel differently.
I
But
bet if they make good on all this stuff, I bet Recore will be a totally good, cool game once this is
sure.
done.
Yeah, it'll probably be all right.
That game had a lot of promise.
Yeah.
At the same time, like they're kind of playing this up as like an Xbox One X thing.
Yeah.
Like talking
They're
about
trying
how
to
it's
tie
got
it to the.
did they talk about it being 4K? I'm actually
It was 4K on PC. You know. Like
Yeah, or it could already
that
do 4K
version
on
on
PC,
PC
you're right.
was
You're right.
was a better looking thing.
But yeah, like that's kind of the Xbox news with the X. What 3 months away? Yes, 3 months away.
November
Less
7th.
than- less than
I think
3
is
months
what
now.
it is. Yeah. And then also they announced like new bundles for the Xbox One S.
Right.
The
So that's-
Minecraft one looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Minecraft,
I
that was-
really like
that's
the
it.
way that one looks.
But,
It's a good looking console.
But you know, like that. You know, that's it. Like the Recore update, Crackdown delay, like an Xbox One X with some custom lettering on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's their
I mean,
Gamescom news.
And they opened up pre-orders, which they had not done until now.
And also, like 100 titles are going to be like enhanced.
Yeah,
by the,
I've got a list. It's funny. We
I want to
talk.
play Killer Instinct in 4K. Fucking A.
Oh,
It's
Also,
I've
I've got-
it's on the PC now. bet
I
you
know,
can-
but on
yeah,
a
that's been
console,
possible for a while.
like, I can't do that on my PC.
yeah.
I have Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox,
Yeah.
and it doesn't run very well. But
Is that on the list?
yeah, it is on the list.
I feel like it's just a hard sell at the price. Like as time has gone on, we've gotten away from E3 a little bit and kind of seen how they've handled it from here, and having one of their big holiday games get delayed certainly does not help. Not that I don't know, Crackdown did not look graphically particularly great.
I saw that
at
game.
E3.
It looked like a slightly better 360 game.
Yeah, and they were running on PCs there. So good of them to take the time to actually do it right. I think that's obviously the right move. They wouldn't have done it if.
I would
wasn't.
never get mad at honest to goodness delays of video games if it results in them being better.
Yeah, but at this point, that game's been delayed so many times, or kind of went dark for so long that at some point you're like, well,
That's all Terry Crews is doing. He's leaking
Yeah.
too much.
probably like we need to rebuild all this stuff. But the use case or who is the customer for the Xbox One X? Are they trying to sell it to existing Xbox fans? Because they're not giving them a lot of exclusives, which would be the reason I think they're not attaching a bunch of exclusive reasons to buy it. It will be the most powerful console.
Yeah.
It will step above the PS4 Pro when supported properly. But also like the majority of the games they're talking about being Xbox One X enhanced, like it seems like a lot of them are also coming to PC. So if you really cared about power, that's your option. So it's this narrow focus of like, it's people who care about power but are still somehow scared of a PC. And
It's
want,
a huge
like,
investment.
the
Like,
easy
it's not even just
solution.
being scared
and
so
it's
much. as, like,
$500.
yeah, I mean, the
and-
Xbox 500, you're still looking at like probably $1,200 for like a decent, like a top of the line. Like that'll get you a 1080. You know,
I feel like if you wanted to duplicate the Xbox One X like power, it's not going to be that much more money, and you'll probably make it up on game sales, like the pricing differences and stuff.
oh yeah.
That's probably true. I mean, there are use case
There are use case
variables for me. Like
yeah.
I don't want to have a PC sitting in my living room next to my TV. Like I don't have a great setup for that.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's like zero people, but like it doesn't.
It's
not
a lot of
resonating with
money
me.
for a pretty narrow use case though.
Yeah, like I just it's it just seems strange. I got the list, like if anyone cares, and they've got
any standouts or anything surprising.
Anthem, like surprising, like some older stuff that's getting in here.
I guess that would be like I know Gears 4 is getting it.
Gears 4 is getting it. Titanfall 2,
Okay.
Skyrim Special Edition.
Finally some Skyrim news.
Excellent.
Zoo Tycoon.
Oh man, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
4K penguins.
Which those guys announced that Jurassic Park game there as we're Jurassic
they're the
World.
one's doing that.
Yeah,
Jurassic World.
Frontier's doing
looks
it.
kinda
Jurassic
cool.
World management sim.
So I wonder if it'll have A, can I honk a horn? B, will it have the Kinect support that Zoo Tycoon on the Xbox One had? Roblox, Rocket League, Smite. Super hot. This is just some of the existing or older stuff.
I would assume
looking
like
at.
pretty much everything this fall is going to have it.
I would assume
surely.
like on a Go for Injustice 2 will have it.
Yeah.
Homefront: The Revolution.
Nice.
Why?
Finally.
Why is it? Maybe it's just hey, this work came for free.
Yeah, they've been out there saying these games ported over in like 2 days or less.
So maybe it's like hey, we have a PC version. It's very easy
Some
for us
guy
to
on
do
his
it.
lunch break was just like, I'll do home.
I'm just trying to envision like why anyone at Deep Silver would greenlight any amount of money being spent on Homeworld. So if you want like a thing that points to maybe getting your game up and running on the Xbox One X,
super easy.
is super easy. It's the idea that they would do that.
And in
Firewatch
turn,
is on
probably
this list.
the support is going to be, a lot more.
Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, Elite Dangerous, Madden, FIFA, Dynasty Warriors 9,
Fucking A.
Dishonored 2, Darksiders 3,
Cool.
Astroneer, Assassin's Creed Origins. So it's I expect that on a go forward basis, it's past a certain point, everything will just kind of support it.
Yeah.
Dead Rising 4, Forza 7, Forza Horizon 3, For Honor, Halo 5, Halo Wars 2. KI, Mafia 3. That seems like maybe another weird one. Paladins, Path of Exile, RE7, Rhyme.
It's a lot of big stuff from the last year.
Some stuff from the last year for the most part, and then The Division, Wildlands.
So the PS4 Pro
Witcher.
support has not been that great.
It's been bad.
Right? It's been
Well,
real
it's
bad.
it's been
Everything-
good in some isolated cases, but generally the messaging has been super vague.
Okay.
Like the support has been very good to
Like
very
what's gonna
bad
happen.
from game to
Yep.
game. It's been a mess.
So
I feel like the games that have been a mess are a fucking burning mess, but there aren't that many of them. I think there are probably more cases where the benefits seem slight.
Yes, that
or
that's
negligible.
what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by it being a mess. Is some games it feels like you're getting next to nothing. Some games you're getting actually nothing, or it's worse.
Yeah.
A few games here and there, it's like, oh, this is dramatically better. Like Hellblade runs at 60 on a Pro.
did you say Monster
you-
Hunter World? Because I think that's on the list.
I
The
don't-
Xbox one. I'm pretty sure. I
don't know.
read it.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like the Pro's been rough.
And this is more powerful than the Pro.
Yeah.
So it'll be able to be a more dramatic departure than the Pro has been. Did you buy a Pro?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that purchase now?
Well, I've got stupid Sony store points I've been trying to use up for
Sure.
years because I'm an idiot. But even then,
Yeah.
it's been nice in cases, like I said, like Hellblade or like Snake Pass is a weird example that is way better on a Pro.
Yeah.
Like here and there, it's like, oh, I'm glad I'm playing a better version of this game than I would have on a regular.
I was glad for stuff like Horizon.
Yeah. I haven't played Horizon yet, but that's a big one
and-
because they really did the work on that one.
Yeah, it's like when they do the work, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah. Or like Paragon, I know is another one where you see side by side, like, oh, they really added a lot to this. But
And like I thought Injustice 2 looked really good, but I wasn't. Then at some point I was like, maybe that's actually just the HDR on this OLED TV that actually sets that apart, and not necessarily any purely pro benefits.
Yeah.
And so it speaks to just how disruptive to the console cycle this will all end up being down the line. I think that the Xbox One X is so much more powerful. But also, like, what does that mean for developers? Like, which ones do they support? If it's truly that easy, then maybe it's like kind of a non-question, especially if you're putting your game on PC and doing the port work anyway, doing the assets anyway.
Right.
Then maybe it really isn't a big deal. But yeah, I can't say like in the wake of like this press conference and kind of just like going out of my way to look at what the reaction was to the news. I didn't see a lot of people going like, "Oh yeah, I'm in." except for people that were like
already
signifying their Xbox fandom in such a direct way that they were just like, of course they were going to get
people
one.
who only play games on an Xbox One probably are going to get this thing.
Yeah.
But
I would.
Fans of the genre will enjoy it.
I feel like if you're looking to upgrade a console, if you haven't invested in this generation at all, if you are, but also if you are in the market for a new upgrade console, if you have, like, then maybe they're making the case. But then at that point, if you're looking at the PlayStation versus Xbox thing, and it comes down to games, they are so very similar. And so third party stuff is the vast majority of the games people care about.
There are so many games that are only coming to PS4 and PC right now. There's a bunch.
Yeah, a lot of stuff out of Japan that's not not even necessarily an exclusive deal. It's just like not coming to Xbox.
Or they come to Xbox 3 to 6 months later,
right?
Something like that.
What's the PUBG situation for consoles? Coming to Xbox
so
first?
that is a whole other
the other crazy news is that Microsoft is going to publish.
Yeah, and it sounds like that kind of came casually out of live stream.
I don't know what the context of it was. I just kind of saw a breakdown of the news.
They had Player Unknown on the couch.
Oh, it came from a blog post.
Oh, really?
On the Xbox blog.
Yeah, so they are publishing and I guess contributing development resources to the Xbox One version of that game.
Yeah,
which will still come out in their game preview program this calendar year. My guess is that they have that they were considering maybe not doing the console version because they had said like, oh, we're not even going to think about console version really until PC is wrapped up.
Yeah.
And my guess is Microsoft said, we have enough money to place one bet. This is the fucking bet.
Yeah.
What's it going to take? Exactly.
Spend some money and get this thing out this year on our box.
And that seems to me exactly what they did. They're actually showing the Xbox version at Gamescom. And so they are now building that as an exclusive in the fucking most like soft language possible, where you read it and go like, okay, they had already come out and said that they were going to do it for PS4 at some point, like a while ago, before E3 even. Then Microsoft had it on their stage, and then that partnership obviously has led to this. But you still get the impression that this will probably still come to, it feels very much like we signed a deal and now we can't talk about any other versions we're going to do for X amount of time.
Yeah. It looks like the game's community manager referred to it as a launch exclusive at one point.
Okay.
Which certainly sounds like it will come to PS4 later.
And maybe it ends up being like that's the only, because if you think about it, Sony, despite what Fortnite and Paragon may tell you, Sony does not have an early access program. Right. They don't have a game preview thing the way Microsoft does. So there's no place, except there totally is, for there to be an unfinished game on their service. Yeah. Except in cases where Epic totally is putting out unfinished games on their platform.
Yes.
So, just in some ways, by default, I guess it would end up being a Microsoft exclusive because they're the place that it can come out early before the game is quote unquote done. And they're committing to it coming out on Xbox One this calendar year as a game preview and then being finished, whatever that means, early next year.
Yeah.
And maybe that early next year date is when it also comes to other platforms. Or maybe they are buying it for longer than that. But either way, this stuff just sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's
a mess.
Again, business 101, don't actually talk about any aspect of the business you're doing. Just say, it's the best.
Business is booming.
Yeah. Yo, bubble. It's blowing up.
The Gamescom tournament starts tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Or today, our time. I don't know what the time difference is, but
you guys going to watch some of that?
International Dateline. I might try to catch some of that.
Yeah, I want to see how that goes down.
I would like to see the evolution. I assume I would like to think that they'd be showing like a little bit more of their spectator tools than even we have access to.
Is it
now.
all just singles?
No, they're doing a mix.
I'd like to see squad
and these are like
tournaments.
well-known.
It's singles,
players,
duos, squads, all kinds of
I'd
stuff.
like to.
I think it's like streamers and
watch
stuff.
squads and hear them communicate.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I wonder if we'll get any of that.
Yeah. Sure. I guess I would also like to see what the esports presentation for this looks like. Like, what does using those spectator tools really well look like?
You have
totally.
Oh well, I'm talking about esports presentation.
Oh well,
you have player unknown jump in from an airplane,
parachute
down, land in a tree, fall on the ground, take some damage, get up, and just start running around the arena looking for.
Chug an energy drink.
Yeah. All right, sold.
Yep. I'm in. Somebody was telling me all that really garish, dumb esports graffiti that got added to the game is just for this tournament.
Oh,
And that
okay.
they're taking it back
good.
out after.
All right.
I don't like that stuff.
Some of it I'm into.
Think about the nature of that game as
mean,
like it's 100 people dropped
yeah,
onto an island
yeah.
to murder each other.
At a certain
as a
point,
blood
it
sport.
doesn't matter what it looks like. I agree.
Yeah,
but
this. Think about it this way: if that thing was, and I guess they haven't really said like what the lore around it is,
Yeah.
but in my head, it's just like Condemned, the Stone Cold Steve Austin classic.
Yeah.
Where it is being televised. So, of course, you would put sponsors and garbage around this fucked up island you bought to murder people on because you're a fucking murder junkie televising murder.
Yeah.
So
If you win a game, you get one spray, and you can use it at any time, but you spray it in the world when you land, and it stays there until somebody else covers it up with their spray.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. I'd be into that. Try this on for size. Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition.
It doesn't fit.
No, too big.
Too small.
Is 100? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that you might be saying that 170 gigabytes was too big for you.
Oh.
What?
I don't know. It's 170 gigabytes.
It's a large game.
Like what? The fuck?
Cutscenes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from.
Uncompressed audio. It's Titanfall all over again.
I'm gonna fact check that real fast. Yep. Okay. Yes, confirmed. Yes, the PC edition of Final Fantasy 15 will be 170 gigabytes.
Stop that.
Which I feel like skipped a tier.
Yeah.
Like we were in the 80-ish
Yeah.
range for being the high end, and then it's like, okay, and then the 100 and 120 maybe, but no.
There are still
They're
some people
pushing-
out there that have 256 gig SSDs.
Yeah, they're pushing 200 gig with this thing, and I have no idea why.
I wonder what
It comes with all the DLC. This is
Okay.
coming out. This is coming out early next year.
I would be curious to see what a full console install looks like with all that patches and all that other stuff.
Maybe with all their DLC, it'll be similar.
Maybe it's gotten up there, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
but
I wonder if it's just a resolution of assets thing.
maybe
At which point you wonder, will the Xbox One X version
have the
end
same
up
thing.
being bigger? I feel like that's something they didn't necessarily address super well about like patches and asset size and all the other
Yeah,
stuff
no.
between the S and the X. Is like, will they be doing different patches or will S users suddenly
Have
see
way
all their games
bigger
blow
games.
up
Yeah,
because they're also downloading all these high-res assets?
that would be rough. Yeah, not much else to say there other than just the comically large install size. It's Final Fantasy 15 with all the DLC
Was that known that it was coming
on a
to
PC. No, I think they had
Okay.
kind of hinted off and on that it would happen, but there you go. What do you guys think of that Shenmue 3 trailer?
It looks bad.
You think so?
I mean, I think some of the environments looked okay.
Yeah,
Like some of their pans around the environment. Like it's if you haven't seen the trailers, it's a very empty,
yeah.
lifeless trailer.
It's not. There's not a whole lot more to it than the initial footage they put out, like with the Kickstarter or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of pans around an environment, and you're like, oh, okay. And then
Yeah.
a little bit of character work with some of the most static faces imaginable.
Any sailors?
No.
I didn't see any.
I noticed-
I'm out.
I saw the dude from Shenmue. What is
Yes.
his name? Joe Shenmue.
Yep.
with
Johnny Shenmue Gat.
The most stoic fucking placeholder look on his face.
I noticed the lady has
the most
animated.
Dreamcast look on his face imaginable.
The female character has facial expressions. The male lead does not, from what I could see.
That's another tier.
That's canonical.
Yeah. If they'd hit one more
yeah.
It was a stretch goal.
stretch goal, then maybe things would have been different.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think it looked as bad as a lot of people seem to think.
Yeah,
but it doesn't
Inspire confidence
Yeah.
No.
in the video game Shenmue 3.
Well, okay, it's at some points like I had zero confidence in that thing to begin with. So
Yeah.
you look at it and go like, these faces maybe should be better, but also maybe they shouldn't. Like maybe it should weirdly look like this up-res Dreamcast game
Yeah,
or something.
sure.
I don't know what the actual answer is there, but
Just call it a throwback.
Establish
Sure.
some continuity with the previous
I
games
guess I don't know.
by making it look like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, lastly, BioWare came out and said, "Hey, they were right. We're not making any DLC for this thing
Yeah.
Andromeda.
for Andromeda."
Yeah.
Yeah.
They confirmed that officially. what did they said? Like they even said like, hey, that last patch we just put out will be our final patch.
Yes. That is now the Mass Effect Andromeda of record.
Yeah.
That is the final and enduring version of that game.
Should I play Mass Effect Andromeda? Okay.
No.
All right.
I mean, you could.
On some strange level, good on them for not wasting a bunch of additional time on Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, knowing when to like cut something off is a valuable skill in
nothing
video
they were
games.
going to add to that game content-wise was going to actually fix that game.
No, it wouldn't.
There's the bug fixes and all that other stuff. They need to fix that. They fixed a lot of that.
Good, yeah. Good on them for like they did put a lot of work into the faces and the lighting and like the some of the most glaring issues with that.
I don't know if it got there all the way or not. I stopped playing it at some point.
It was definitely better.
But definitely better. Okay. But I feel like at some point, like, why would you make more people are like, oh man, like why would you make more content for that thing?
I think I could be wrong about this, but they did sell some kind of deluxe edition season passy sort of thing that people may have taken to mean they would get DLC out of it.
Oh, they
could be wrong.
Or was that just packs for the multiplayer?
I'm not sure.
I don't know what the yes. If they sold a thing and outlined what that thing was going to get you and then didn't meet those expectations, that's a real problem.
I saw people sarcastically in the wake of this news. I saw people sarcastically saying like, "Oh, I'm glad I bought the season pass edition or whatever," but they did not seem angry enough to imply that they knew for sure they were supposed to get something. More like they thought maybe they would.
Yeah.
And now they're not.
Well,
I mean, for what it's worth, I've said before, there are like glaring story threads dangling at the end of that thing.
oh, of course, yeah,
and three of them.
Part of their announcement
Three
said
major
like part of their announcement was like, oh, and we're going to continue the fiction in comic books and books. So, well, the fate of the Quarian arc will be determined.
Oh, thank God!
In this other fiction.
Good.
So,
wonderful.
like, the stories will be told, I guess, for whatever that's worth.
What about the Gian Carson murder mystery? How's that going to play out?
Who?
What are they going to do with your mom?
Yeah, that's
Need to know what's going to happen with that stuff. No, I don't.
Yeah,
I'll probably be
okay. I don't.
I mean, I mean, there are comically large like holes in the ending of that thing in terms of like
here's where the rest of the content goes.
Well, no. I mean, I'm sure they were planning to carry that stuff over to a sequel or something like that. But like, that stuff will just never get resolved.
And it shouldn't.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like Mass Effect Andromeda 2 starts with the universe, the space station blowing up.
Yeah,
everyone on it's gone. And they're like, well.
It's like Shepard waking up and going, what? Oh, man. That was a weird dream. Anyway.
What a weird situation that thing is.
Yeah.
Mass Effect, of all things, to go out like this. Until they bring it back. But
I mean,
for now, it's in a pretty strange place.
Like, how crazy is that? That, like, at the end of, well, I mean, whatever. Like, they torched a lot of their goodwill with the end of Mass Effect 3 or with Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
But there were still plenty of players willing to get in and give them another. Like at that point, enough time had passed where I was like, yeah, maybe I am ready for more Mass Effect.
Yeah.
But like the double shot of this now, the 1-2 punch of 3 and Andromeda.
It's too much.
Like, give it a decade.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like, bury this thing.
For sure.
Like, fucking throw it in the vault next to Road Rash.
Yeah.
And take Road Rash out of the vault.
That's right.
One in, one out.
Yep.
That's the rule.
That's the EA policy. Skate. Pull skate out.
You guys want to read some emails? I ask that every week like you have a choice.
I mean, yeah.
You're going to read some fucking emails.
Okay, let me check my email.
I just read one of them.
Here.
No. Like my emails.
Oh.
The emails that I pulled for this show, not the ones in your inbox. Oh. If you want to read an email from your inbox.
No, I got a spam phone call from a phone number that has my area code and prefix.
Here we go, Jason. Get the music ready. Jeff's emails.
But
all right.
Jeff's emails?
Yeah. That's sure.
Let's get into the emails. All right.
Emails.
Let's see.
Jeff.
They're having a bike sale.
Hmm?
This company wants to book an appointment at PAX. This email uses the word Space Chem like, which is a fucking insane thing. And
I hate this segment.
The Unprofessional Fridays show page has all the episodes of it on it now.
Nice. Great. That's excellent. Thanks for checking in. It's Jeff's inbox.
All
See you
right,
next week.
That's the show.
Yep. Bye. Bombcast@johnbomb.com. Here's an email from Shane.
That's not my email address.
Nope.
We asked for
That's the podcast. email
NDX.
address.
for certain type of emails. Did we get them?
We got a few.
Okay.
I
Should we wait?
didn't pull a lot of those.
Oh.
I got a couple.
Makes me wonder if you really wanted my suggestion, Brad.
I don't know, man. Just figure it out when we get there.
All right.
Here's an email from Shane who asks, why do journalists get secret info? Yeah, I'll read the email.
Okay.
That was the
Like
subject.
cheat codes?
That was the subject line.
Yeah.
Why do game developers tell journalists off the record secret info if the journalists can't do anything with it? That's question one.
It's stuff that you just kind of have conversations, you know,
Yeah.
with some people, and you know, there's kind of, I think, you know, people that are more in the news game would be better suited to answer that sort of thing, because they're the ones that are drawing the lines between, like, here's a story I'm breaking with information I have found out, and here's information that I have, you know, on background or whatever it is, that is not necessarily publishable stuff. But you know,
Sometimes you just have cordial relationships with people.
yeah,
And they tell you about stuff.
sometimes people talk about work.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want
Fully-
to clear up, like, you know.
Or like, hey, you know, or yeah, sometimes you run into developers who are just like, obviously, like they can't, as someone who primarily was a reviewer, I ran into a lot of people who would privately say, yeah, you're right, that game I worked on was fucked. But obviously they can't
can't
say
tweet that at
yeah,
you.
they
They
can't
can
say
say
that
that
publicly,
publicly.
like,
Yeah.
this review's right on, this game is super fucked up.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a lot of situations like that where sometimes someone may disagree with the company's policy on a thing, or want to privately reach out and say, like, hey, just so you know, I see you. I know. We knew that game was broken.
But also on the front end of that, like for games that aren't out yet or even announced that they might want to tell you about, like sometimes people are just excited about the things they're working on and like can't talk publicly about them and just want to talk to somebody about them.
And if, you know, and if you were the sort of person that was going to turn every single one of those into a story, then you would never have those conversations.
Yeah, they would never tell
which
you.
is fine too.
Yeah, both valid.
Yeah. So I think it's just kind of something that sort of happens as a natural effect of talking to people that work on video games.
Yes. His second question, what's one juicy thing that you got told at the time you couldn't say, but now you can due to time passing?
The first thing I thought of actually is something I still can't say. And it's like years old, and no one is at that company, and those people are not at that company anymore, but it was too crazy. Shit.
Now
I hate that I thought of that, because now I have to fucking email some people
Now I'm sitting
that are
here-
at Gamescom and go, hey,
Now I'm sitting here wondering if
can we talk about this thing?
Now I'm sitting here wondering if you've ever told me about this and if I know what it is.
You might. Anyway, whatever.
I'm trying to think of something, but like you kind of tend to forget about that stuff once it becomes announced.
Exactly. Like none of
everybody
that
knows
stuff
about
is
it?
ever like that important
Yeah.
in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things. But at the same time, there are some really interesting stories about, like, oh, we almost sold our company to this company, or
Yeah.
almost did this, or almost
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
And almost partnered with these people to do this.
The
And-
craziest ones are usually the almosts. It's like,
Right.
oh, here's a thing that we pitched
It's
that
like-
we were close to
exactly.
closing
Or
a deal on.
We were 3 meetings away
Yeah.
from selling this
Yeah.
IP to
Like
this company,
or this insane mashup of
you
games
know,
you never would
like
have seen.
Sega almost got bought by Microsoft, or
Yeah.
you know, like all the stuff that you look at is like, oh, well, everyone is always talking.
Yeah.
Everyone is
Yeah.
always talking about and buying and merging with everyone. Everyone is always having conversations about
Yeah.
stuff.
Or it's like, here's some crossover that would have made Kingdom Hearts look pedestrian.
Yeah,
in its absurdity.
Exactly. Yes,
But it never happened, so there's no point in talking about it because
Yeah.
it's not actually a thing.
Or it's not your story to tell at some
Yeah.
point. It's
Or
like,
that,
oh, well,
yeah.
you know, like the one sentence shock value thing
Yes.
is not interesting. The longer form, like, let's talk about this in depth, that's the stuff you go like, oh man,
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just in terms of just like, oh, IP rights and all this other stuff, yeah, there's a lot of weirdly interesting stuff.
Yeah. I think the most common stuff is just you hear about like sequels being in development.
Right.
Of, you know, it's like, oh yeah, of course I was hearing that The Last of Us 2 was in development for like a good year before that got announced.
Yeah.
Because of course it was, you know, like that's
Yeah,
not a huge secret that people are going to like try to keep a lid on.
Or like, you know, I don't know. There was a while I was hearing a lot of stuff about potential remasters and stuff like that. Of you know, like, hey, this company was thinking about doing this. This company was thinking about bundling this with this, and none of it's that interesting, and none of it ended up coming to pass.
Yeah.
Because we kind of exited the remaster phase of, oh shit, people want console games. We thought that maybe they wanted phone games, and we didn't put a lot of time.
We don't have a lot ready here.
But you know, when that transition kind of happened,
Yeah.
everyone got back to just making games. And so some of that stuff just kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of stuff that would be shocking to a lot of people that shouldn't be, because everyone is talking about everything all the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of the assumption to make, is that, everything is technically on the table. It just depends on how much money you have, how much time you have, and whether it all lines up. So
all video games exist at all times, is what you're saying.
yeah, sort of. Or yeah, like the number of different times, like someone tried to make a new Desert Strike at EA or something like that, or the number of times a Half-Life 3 entered development and rapidly exited development, and who was making it.
He says, on a side note, I was talking to a developer recently who mentioned that the background info on Half-Life 3's development has been well known in certain circles. Only none of it has come out due to it only being spread around trusted circles of developers. That's what he says.
And then a lot of the times, by the time we hear something like that, it is then fourth hand.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how do we source this in a responsible way to say, yes, this thing we're pretty sure is true about Half-Life 3 is actually reportable.
Yeah.
Without just being like rumor monger weirdos that, then when you start playing that role, you'll fall for anything.
Yes.
So tracing those stories back, which at one point we did try to do, a lot harder.
Yeah. Also, something can be true at one time and then cease to be true later.
Also true.
Something you may have heard several years ago may no longer be the case.
The information may be wildly out of date.
Yes. Things change.
Yeah.
He asks, he's not asking us to name anything, but he says, finally, without mentioning anything or exactly what anything is, have you heard about something recently off the record that got you excited or intrigued?
Yeah.
Actually, nothing comes to mind for me. Been a while since I heard any juicy.
Yeah, there's one thing that comes to mind.
Anything. Yeah.
Nobody talks to me.
No, yeah, that's.
You hang around long enough, you get there. Here's a burning question from Nick. When Mario throws a fireball, it bounces. When it hits enemies, it makes a noise that sounds like a solid-on-solid collision. So what's in there? Is Mario producing not just a flame, but also materializing some kind of ball or stone? Is it like a tiny meteor? I'm comfortable with fire coming out of his hand, but the idea of a solid object erupting from his hand makes me deeply uncomfortable. So I've turned to the experts for some peace of mind.
I mean,
It's magic.
He gets a flower that lets him shoot fire. Like, the properties of the fire don't have to match up with what you think of as fire.
If it's a fire, how does it bounce?
It's fucking more than fire.
I know, right? But what is it?
How does it stay in ball form?
The air is. So what I imagine is kind of like an airbender thing where he's whirling around the fire to a degree that it's moving so quickly that it maintains kind of a solid state, but because it's not penetrable. The fire, like projectiles, don't make it go away. So it has this kind of like exterior formed by just the wind and movement of fire just going.
See, I see why you would think that would be the case.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you're wrong.
Okay.
It's a coconut. He has the ability to conjure coconuts.
Flaming coconut.
At will. No, he can conjure just fucking coconuts all the time.
Oh, wow.
But once he eats that flower, he can conjure flaming coconuts.
That's why he's friends with Donkey Kong, because
Exactly.
Donkey Kong can do the same with bananas, and those go together so well. and you
Totally.
just
So the coconut kind of bounces and then makes a hard noise when it hits.
Okay.
But also the coconut has been burning for a while prior to being conjured. So when it hits, it kind of disintegrates.
what can Luigi produce?
Fucking absolutely nothing.
Pee.
Yeah. At will.
There you go.
He can just, if you wanted to watch Luigi P for 24 hours straight, A, I've got some animated gifts for you. B, he can just do it.
He has that power.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about flaming nuts and pee, and I'm sitting down here with got kidney stones.
Oh, no,
and
I'm
I'm
sorry. All right.
Oh God.
We'll move on.
Okay, let's move. Yeah.
Just put the headphones up to the affected area, and if we yell at a certain tone, will that be like a sound? Will it disintegrate?
Yeah, God, I hope so.
Ultrasonic.
But we don't want to hit that brown note either.
Ultrasonic pulse.
I don't know.
If it takes care of the stones, I'll gladly shit my pants.
Okay.
Gladly.
Next email.
I don't even need stones. Let's
Giant
just go.
Bowelcast.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about scorpions?
I want to talk about pooping my pants.
No!
But we got emails about scorpions.
Why?
Because we talked about scorpions last week.
No!
Andy from Omaha wrote in about scorpions.
I hate you, Andy.
Last week, I heard a fellow listener ruminating over keeping a scorpion as a pet. I have kept scorpions in the past, and I can confirm they are cool animals.
No,
You
they
can
are
sh-
fucking not.
Crazy man.
You can shine a black light on them, and they glow.
That's true.
Is that actually true?
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Weird.
Fuck that. Also, fuck that.
How did you know that?
I just,
I'm not surprised.
That's just things you just discover.
That's cool.
On your course through the world. Knickknacks.
Is that because
trivia
they're all
bits.
covered with pee?
Yeah.
He says,
Luigi, the big scorpion fan.
if you're considering keeping large insects as a pet, please heed this
Please
warning.
jump off of a cliff.
When you're buying your scorpion or scorpions, make sure they are all of the same sex.
Multiple.
The H, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, the H. Judiacus scorpion, the shiny black ones that are normally sold as pets, come in 3 distinct varieties, male, female, and most terrifying of all, an asexual variety that is literally a scorpion factory if kept properly fed.
Huh.
Nothing is more terrifying than having to round up a hybrid mama-daddy scorpion and their immaculate brood in order to ship them back to the online distributor you bought them from because you thought you were getting a male and failed to read the fine print.
Do you have to mail back all the scorpions?
I'm sure that's like the fee. Like, just send us.
Right.
You can return your scorpion, but you have to send us 4 scorpions on the comeback.
Yeah.
He says, good luck in all of your scorpion keeping endeavors. I'm super glad
There
I
will
grew
be
out of
none.
that shit. A couple of cats is way easier to keep than a Goliath bird-eater tarantula that you have to feed a live mouse to every month.
There will be no.
I don't know.
Scorpion
Keeping
adventures here.
a cat that has some medical issues, I might tell you that,
go with the
that
tarantula.
just having a spider in an area where you just go to the store, buy a mouse, and throw it in the thing and hope for the best.
They could probably eat the cat too.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Just the idea of a single scorpion that can just shoot out a constant stream of extra scorpions is like an image,
It's like a
image
fucking-
that I may never get out of
The
my
worst Gary's Mod weapon.
Next email.
Okay, well, here's another one about scorpions.
Ah!
I don't have to read it if you don't want to hear it.
No, let's go.
No,
This is from
yeah.
a guy,
Scorpions, the Ninja
Get
Clan.
it all out now.
this is from a guy who has them in the house.
Sub-Zero's family. God damn it.
Daniel says, I live in Arizona and have a small but persistent scorpion invasion in my home, and while they are not pets, I spend quite a bit of time with them, chasing them around and crushing them every time I get a chance. While
I
they're
like this guy.
Yeah. While they are fascinating creatures, I wouldn't recommend anyone intentionally bring one into their home. They are crafty, cunning, and all-around dangerous. I've only been stung once, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Last week, I was dead asleep when I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to an intense burning sensation in my leg.
Oh no.
I threw back the covers to inspect the area of the burning, only to find a baby scorpion smaller than a dime ferociously attacking my inner thigh.
Why? What did you? Oh.
Move. Arizona's not going to be a livable place in 5 years anyway.
That's
Just
true.
get out early.
That's a good point. After murdering my newfound bedmate, I Googled what to do with a scorpion sting and found out that my particular breed is supposedly one of the more poisonous in the U.S., but the only online help suggested washing the area with soap and water and calling poison control if the pain lasted more than 5 hours. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, good. This pain only lasted 4.5 hours.
Yep. P.S. Even while writing this email, there's another fucking scorpion crawling across the counter I'm sitting next to back to the hunt.
Yeah, move.
Move.
Don't live in
I
Arizona.
mean, it's,
Burn it down.
look, it's easy for us to just sit here and
I'm
say,
gonna say-
move,
I'm going to say maybe.
but you need to move.
Yeah.
I mean, don't move here,
Don't bring the scorpions with you, please.
because here sucks in a different way.
Not a lot of murderous bugs here, though.
Yeah, I haven't seen a scorpion.
Depends.
Like, what do you got?
Startups.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah. When you put it that way. It's
Those will
more,
bite you in the ass.
it's more like a virus, I feel
Lasts
like.
more than 5 hours.
Yeah, that's for sure.
When they get you.
Not long after 5 hours,
yeah.
though.
I feel like we're flirting with disaster.
Wear a wetsuit 24 hours a day.
Yeah, okay. Like a thick one.
A thick-
Full of scorpion poison.
Yeah. Coat it in scorpion stopper. They sell that, right? Just go to the store and say, I need some scorpion stopper.
Just
And they're
plug-
like, oh, here.
Just plug up all your holes.
And then they give you a gallon of fucking gas. And you pour that over the wetsuit and go to bed.
There you go.
Every night.
And over the house.
And over the house.
Just don't light any candles.
Now you really want to stop those scorpions.
Yeah.
You light those candles.
Jeff, you want to educate somebody?
Yeah, okay.
I feel like we're flirting with disaster here, but Kyle from
I know everything.
Kyle from Indiana, Pennsylvania, which I think is a really funny town name, has a question.
Okay?
Who is Derek Smart?
Derek
Well,
is a game developer.
I'll read On the last Unprofessional Friday, you all seem to engage in a Beetlejuice-esque summoning ritual designed to bring forth someone named Derek Smart.
You can't say it again.
I ask you, who is this man? Does he bring a conga line with him when summoned, or is he
That'd
just
be nice.
a third-rate Beetlejuice wannabe with no ability to bring sick grooves?
No, I don't know. He brings something. Yeah. He brings a lot of information about Star Citizen lately. No, he's a game developer. He made the Battlecruiser franchise and other stuff in that vein. What was the other guy? Galactic.
I forget. Battlecruiser 3000 AD was his big claim to fame.
Yeah.
Besides that and being incredibly contentious toward other game developers on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
Like back in a time when
when you had to go out of your way to do that. It wasn't just Twitter and you could just fling it out there.
Back when shade was not being thrown on a daily basis on the internet, he was throwing a lot of shade.
Yeah, he's out there doing it.
We're talking like late 90s.
Yep. Yeah.
Like kind of infamous for just...
And he's had a lot to say about Star Citizen over the last chunk of time.
In not a friendly way.
No.
That's my understanding.
No.
He seems to have a personal...
He's been digging into Star Citizen for some time.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, that should answer your question. A lot of stuff out there you could find if you wanted to know.
But the joke was that if you were anywhere on the internet in the 90s and you mentioned his name 3 times, he would eventually find you. Yes.
Really at all.
He would eventually show up to post.
He had an uncanny, and I've seen this in action.
Yes. He would eventually.
I can appreciate a man who will show up to post.
He had an uncanny knack for knowing when he was being talked about.
He is logged in.
And showing up to intervene. He is online at all times.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. Chris has a quick question. What TV shows do you guys watch in your spare time? About all I've gathered is that Jeff watches bad wrestling and Ben watches generic shonen anime.
I don't watch a lot of anime.
That sounds like somebody who watches a lot of anime.
I was going to say.
I watch 1 to 2 series a year.
That sounds like there's a lot of anime in my book.
Seems like a high number.
They're usually like 13 episodes.
That's hours of anime.
Yeah.
That's double-digit hours worth of anime.
Over a year.
That's a lot of anime.
What's good? Whatever's good.
What's hot right now? Game of Thrones. Watch that.
God, I watch it and I hate it.
It's doofy now. I love it. It's
Is public opinion turning on that thing? I feel like I'm picking up
public
some
opinion
vibes.
is turning because the show. Really, the super condensed version of it is early on. That show was all about exposition. It was all about these grand plot lines and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I read the first 4 books, so I know
right.
like,
but
what
now,
that stuff is about.
so it's since next season's the last season, they have to push everything to an end, and they have less episodes per season, but more budget to do it. So it ends up being a lot more fighting, and then like, hey, we did this thing while we were fighting, instead of, hey, we're gonna fight, and then, oh boy, that fight was bad. Let's talk about that fight.
Cool.
Fights are pretty cool.
It's nice.
They're pretty fucking cool fights.
They can't have like the Dragon Ball Z equivalent of someone spending an entire episode just charging up.
No, but that would be, I'd be pretty into that. Just watching the Night King go like,
That's going to be such a bummer if that thing ends up being bad in the end because of the TV show.
I've seen the reaction lately. I feel like the thing I've seen is the people say like, man, it's like, it's kind of senseless now. The overall story, like they're kind of losing it, but at least along the way, it's fun now.
Yeah, like,
and it is less like dark and rapey than it was for a while there. So
although they still like to allude to that a lot.
Oh, sure.
Dark and Twin Peaks. Anybody
Yeah, I
watching
see
that?
a lot of people saying good things about
I'm
that.
going to be binging it right before it ends,
Okay.
so I haven't watched much of this season.
I wanted to rewatch all of Twin Peaks before getting into this one, and I have not
feel like
done
that would leave
yet.
you not wanting to watch
Maybe
the rest.
Maybe
I would suggest watching
I might just reread a primer.
Firewalk with me as well.
Oh yeah, I actually watched that relatively recently again. So
Not that I like that movie.
I liked it. I don't know. Like
Oh,
it's
was
I didn't like it.
You know, it's fine.
But a lot of that stuff comes up in the season.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, so my wife's been watching it, so I've been hearing it and then talking to her about it a little bit and hearing the ways in which it evokes Firewalk with Me is fucking fascinating.
Yes.
Like some of the callbacks and information that is in that movie that then is like kind of vital now seems really cool.
Yep.
I mean, I've never even seen the original. I've always meant to, but like it seemed like there was no way that bringing that thing back 20-something years later was going to turn out well. But people seem super happy with
It was the goal all along in some ways.
Yeah.
with the new one.
Like there were story things in there originally that were like, hey, 25 years. Like,
weird.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Is Kyle MacLachlan in this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like kind of everyone. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are in this thing.
Huh. Okay.
You should check out the fucking credits list. Like the people that are in this fucking series.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
Maybe I should finally fucking watch Twin Peaks.
Shout out to Derek Mears, who played Jason in the recent Friday the 13th. Anyway, what else?
I like Rick and Morty quite a bit.
You brought up Riverdale once.
Yeah, my partner watched all of it. I watched half of it just by proxy of being in the room.
You said Archie died. That was not Archie.
No, Archie died in the comics.
Oh, okay, in the comics.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the show.
Separate.
I'm like, that was a different redheaded kid that died. I don't know why I watched that entire thing, but I did.
I watched all of Ozark, which just came to Netflix.
Yeah.
It's budget Breaking Bad, but with Jason Bateman in the lead role, so it's pretty good.
Okay.
All right.
I've heard good things about it.
Is it just like a straight ripoff, or is it very?
Okay, stop me if you've heard this before, but a man gets wrapped up with a drug cartel and will do anything to save his family. He goes and turns to a local youth who is well versed in the crime scene, and meanwhile the federal government is after him, trying to stop him and take him out, but he is taking a dark turn and he's ruthless and willing to do anything. And also it's played by an actor who you know from being a comedy guy in sitcoms.
That sounds awfully specific.
But it's not meth, right? It's more like money.
He's a money launderer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he's not making the drugs. He's just...
Is it different enough that it's...
Yes.
Okay.
Especially as it goes along.
Okay.
It starts out like I watched the first episode and I was like, I'm not going to watch this anymore. This is just a worse Breaking Bad. But then I was watching it in the background while I played Splatoon and ended up enjoying it quite a bit. And it has a really good finale.
Yeah.
I've been very slowly watching some Japanese wrestling lately, and also, which is better,
definitely,
than what the U.S. stuff has been as of late. And also, I have been very slowly working my way through the full run of Comedy Bang Bang, which I never watched like the last 2 seasons of it.
Wait, is that?
I dropped off before Kid Cudi got involved.
Is that not just a podcast?
No, they
there
did
a TV show?
It's over now, but yeah, they've been doing a TV show for 5 years, 6 years, something like that. Yeah, there's like a startling number of episodes of that thing. Yeah, I watched like up to that point, I think is maybe where I stopped. So there's kind of a lot left.
Because that's even before Weird Al is the band leader.
Yes, yeah. So I've been watching those. That's been more of a background thing though, just kind of putting it on and doing other stuff. Yeah.
There's some good shows.
Yeah. Welcome to my exciting life. My TV viewing is pretty much limited to the PBS NewsHour and Charlie Rose every night.
The ultimate in drama.
How's Charlie doing?
I find it difficult.
Bracing.
It's pretty fucking white knuckle.
Yeah.
Recently, it turns out.
Yeah.
Oh, I binged Waypoint Presents over the weekend as well.
I do want to watch that.
Yeah.
But it's got some guy, Austin Walker. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
Yeah.
Is he related to Christopher Walken?
Yep.
There's
he is, as a matter of fact.
similarities there.
Yeah. They're brothers.
That's a good show.
All right. Let's whip through a few more emails. Brian from Sunnyvale. Is Lawbreakers 2017's Brink?
Sure. Yeah.
Really? Seems kind of harsh, but
I don't know. Like I think I like Lawbreakers more than Brink.
Yeah.
Just mechanically.
That's the thing. I don't see anybody saying Lawbreakers is bad.
Yeah.
Like plenty of people thought Brink,
hey, do you
Brink
remember
was not
that,
a good game.
Do you remember that fucking game I talked about like just prior to E3 called Pwned?
Yeah.
That's on Steam now. That
Okay.
out end of July in early access.
All right.
I really want to see it.
It's $30 and 0 people are playing it.
Yikes.
Jeff, will you show me Pwned later?
Yeah,
You guys should check out
sure.
Pwned. Does the thing have a hook?
Yeah, it's fucking raw and funny.
It's the dumbest. No, it's the most awfulest. Like, it's a game in which so it's a first-person shooter, a team-based shooter, largely, but you do not get points for the kill. They go down but not out, and you have to go basically teabag
It was
them.
the teabagging game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or dance, really. I mean,
Okay.
every character class has its own fucking animation, and it is it's just
Funniest video game ever made.
Have you seen what is now the first screenshot on the Steam store page?
Yeah.
It says,
Their thing is like
it says Pwnbot says price recalibration process initiated.
yeah.
Like, that sure sounds an awful lot like, oh shit, nobody's playing this. We should drop the price.
but they haven't done it
For
yet for whatever
free.
reason.
They
So it's
haven't
like
actually
they
done it
put it
yet.
up there and said like, "Hey, don't buy this." Is basically what it says. But yeah, there was in my very short experience with it, there were 0 other people playing it.
Yikes.
Also, that Ghost in the Shell First Assault game.
What?
Yeah, I remember that thing.
It's a first-person shooter.
Yeah, no,
In the Ghost in the Shell
is
verse.
it out?
That's been out
It's
for,
been out for
a
like a
year
year
or
and-
something. But it was in early access for a while. It is
Okay.
now like out, and it's shutting down in December.
Oh no,
They have announced that they are
bummer.
wrapping it up.
Didn't that
early
thing
December?
Didn't that thing take a bunch of money?
Yeah, they sold a lot of. Well, I mean, they had things for sale in the Steam store,
Yeah.
and it was free to play.
What I mean is somebody could have potentially sunk a lot of money into it.
Yes,
and it's now going away.
yeah. The servers will be up until December, and that game is not bad for what it is.
Yeah, it seemed
like
it
it's
seemed
a
halfway
competent
decent.
shooter. It felt all right. Like the abilities were kind of interesting. I can't speak to how well it represents the source material,
I mean, that franchise
but-
deserves a really good video game.
and I don't think a team-based first-person shooter is the right genre for those characters at all. But it was weirdly okay as like and they made it more class-based over time. Like they differentiated the classes a little bit more. I think more recently, and it's crazy because like if you go to their Steam page, there's an update from mid-July that says, "Hey, the recalibration is complete. We have totally rebalanced a lot of the game based on your feedback. Like, we're really excited. This is the new launching off point for this game. Hell yeah." And here we are about a month later. All right, guys, that's it. Wrapping it up December 6th.
Man, that's
7th, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. That game, I would say I probably have gotten more enjoyment out of that than I did out of Lawbreakers. And certainly in my limited time with Pwned.
You guys should check out Pwned.
There's nothing to check out.
You should go get Pwned.
Like I think there might be bots, but
What if you were to play it in a midweek time frame?
no, I'm not gonna. No,
Will you play with me?
it's $30.
You're right. That would necessitate telling a bunch of people.
No, like I'm definitely not
in
gonna
our
be like,
audience
hey,
to go buy
everyone, go get this game that is sadly like actually like the movement is pretty good because the default jump is a rocket jump.
I'm so
and
so
the
used
wall
to
running is all right.
I'm so used
And-
to every game having sold some copies that you don't normally have to tell people to go buy a game to play it
No,
with.
I pushed play game and it just said wait time very long.
Wow.
And I sat there
All
for
right.
a while and went like, okay.
Okay. Maybe they'll learn their lesson.
I don't know.
All right, Ben.
What
You asked your question.
was it?
You don't remember?
Worst,
I'm not going to read.
most regrettable video game purchase?
No, there were two.
Oh, what was the other one?
I pulled one for each of those.
Okay,
All right.
I forgot the other one.
Most of the emails about regrettable purchases consisted of the person saying, "Hey, I regretted buying this. Bye." So here's one from Julian. I think I have one that's a good regretful purchase. Too Human. I didn't play Eternal Darkness, but I heard a lot of praise, and my friends at the time at the game store seemed stoked for what they called a sci-fi Diablo.
That is an accurate representation of what 2 Human.
Hey, and that's a collector's item now.
I went ahead and picked it up, and between the horrific twin-stick combat controls, the bafflingly bland and uninspired art and story, and watching the Valkyrie death animation
yeah.
10 times, I put that shit in the box and took it back the same day,
Oh, wow.
Oh, you fucked up.
feeling utterly betrayed by my friends who were obviously trying to boost sales. So there you
Your
go.
friends are real cool.
Yes. The other question was, what would you call, or what is a term?
right.
What is a term? A highfalutin term for games as art,
Yes.
effectively. I pulled what is probably the best/worst of them. It's from Ken in Queens County, New York. The Ken of Queens. Who says, I believe it was asked.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. Hit me.
I believe it was asked what a proper name for video games would be as art. I think I've come up with it. Interactivities.
Yes!
All right,
Fuck yeah!
there you go.
Interactivities. That's so good.
Yep.
I feel like that's like fucking highlights for children, but a video game magazine. Like, no, I think it's a good,
Yeah.
it's a good term, but it sounds like something
You
that
have to
would be
get
like,
explained it once. Like you have to.
Yeah.
It's not super inherently like, oh, you mean video games, but like as soon as you know, oh man, I'm definitely using that. Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome.
You,
Says Ken.
okay.
I speak for him. I'm his spokesman.
He sent a follow-up email just in case Ben says thank you.
He
so
said,
you're
yeah, he
welcome.
said, P.S. Tell Ben you're welcome in advance. That's what he said. Let's see. Josh writes in from Michigan for Jeff. I am a cable technician.
All right.
The number one cause of noise in the cable lines, as described by Jeff last week, is in-home marijuana grow lights.
Oh.
I work in a smaller area, but we run into this problem almost weekly. When the lights are turned on and are near cable lines, they transmit noise onto the lines, causing issues with everyone's service in the node. Tracking it down can be hard to do.
And it only happened at night. If you think about if you think about like the way they use those lights, they turn them on for 12 hours, turn them off for 12 hours. I think is usually how that stuff goes.
Right.
And yeah, it would be about 9 p.m. ish.
Clockwork every
It
night.
would fucking turn on, but then it wouldn't be a full 12 hours. But it would definitely be overnight.
Yeah.
It would be bad at night.
Yeah, and then get
before I
better
went
in
to,
the
and I'd be
morning.
like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go to bed if I can't use the goddamn internet. And then wake up at like 6, and it would still be a problem.
Yeah.
But by like 7:30, it would be fine again.
Wow. Are there actually a lot of grow houses up there, though? I thought everybody was just growing in state parks in
I
North
mean,
Bay.
I'm thinking like, on my node, I assume that means a radius around my house.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I mean, sure. It could be.
Well, I mean, it's legal to grow in home use now, so I bet you that the
But also, like,
you're-
those grow lights, I mean, a personal grow operation is
That's
not
like
going to be
that's like
enough.
a plant in the backyard.
Yeah.
If you're,
But,
if
like,
you're
even-
growing for medicinal
I mean-
purposes, like if you're using grow lights, like you're growing commercially.
yeah.
Or, if you're grow
illicitly.
lights in a quantity that would cause that level of disruption.
Yeah.
It would probably...
Because the power, just the cost of that much power is fucking insane, right?
Yeah,
Like, you would need to be
yeah.
selling a bunch of weed to offset the amount
Yes.
of electricity you'd be paying for.
when I was living in my nightmare house in Kentucky, it was on the same property. So it was there were like 3 houses. There's like another house around there and a business, and they were all on the same power meter. So like power was just, at one point we said, this is dumb that you're making us pay any portion of the power because of how this works. And they agreed and said, yeah, you're right. We'll cover the power. Because the power was insanely expensive, because the dudes that got my house invaded were probably running a grow operation, because we would see our lights dim at a set time every night.
like permanently, or just like it blinks,
Like
like it comes down and then back up?
down and back up.
Like as it adjusts to the load
Like,
or
yeah,
whatever?
exactly. Like
Okay.
as the load dramatically changed
Yeah.
at, 9 p.m. or something. And yeah, we were pretty sure that they were running something out of their place. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think about places near me that would be running that kind of operation, but I guess you never know.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point, is they're running it secretly.
Right.
There was a house not that close, but not that far away from where I'm at, that like straight up got raided by SWAT recently. 'Cause
Wow.
It was the drug house. I saw people on like Facebook talking about it, like people that had rough past, going like, man, I used to hang out there. Like, I'm so glad I got clean. I'm so glad I wasn't there for this. And like seeing the TV interviews with the people who were still there going like, no, there's no drugs here. We grind my teeth for a while and tell you that this house is fine. So that is in my town.
Northern California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
heck of
North Bay represent.
Right.
It's a heck of a place. All right. Last email is from Slater in Wisconsin. I like this email. You and a super intelligent snail both get $100 million, and you both become immortal.
I've heard this.
I hope he didn't steal this email.
If it is it about touching?
I'll finish the email.
Okay.
But yes. Now I'm just going to be bummed if he stole this email.
Yeah, I
'cause
think he stole this
Oh,
email,
this is-
Brad.
I thought it was really... I'll finish the email. You and a super intelligent snail both get $100 million, and you both become immortal. However, you die if the snail touches you.
I've heard this as well.
It always knows where you are and slowly crawls toward you. What's your plan? Would you take the deal? A boat can't stop it, as it is highly intelligent and rich and could just buy its own boat.
I mean, you get a plastic tub and turn it upside down and put it over it.
But it's highly
It's
intelligent.
highly intelligent.
Highly intelligent to do what?
don't know.
Dome with nothing
as
else.
soon as it gets, so here's how I've heard it justified. You start on opposite ends of the world,
Mhm.
and as soon as it gets its money, it knows its goal, and it's gonna Batman it up and start pre-prepping, and like think of how to counteract all of your.
What if it hires
Well, then by the time it gets to you, it's going to be in a giant mech suit or something.
with $100 million? It could hire a team of people to make sure that it's always on the move.
Yeah.
But you also have
That's true.
$100 million, so you also can get.
So
a
wait,
mech
hang on.
suit.
So you need to hire your own private army to fight the snail's private army. Okay.
I probably wouldn't take the
proxy
deal
war.
because it just escalates into like the end of the world, actually, because it's just two forces with a massive amount of money trying to catch each other, and it gets all sorts of militias and militaries involved, and it's just not what the world needs right now.
Eventually escalates into a nuclear arms race.
Yes.
You don't want the snail with his finger on the button.
I don't know. I've seen worse.
It's true. Yes, it's not hard to imagine worse.
Yeah.
It turns out.
You said super intelligent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It could definitely be worse. Man, I don't know. It is tempting. Right up until I thought about the idea of it hiring people, like hiring goons to just bring it right to your doorstep.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking just like, put a tracking device on it.
Yeah.
And go halfway around the world. And then when it gets to, say, a quarter of the way around the world, just go another quarter turn. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a few months. But
Yeah.
but no.
I bet I could outsmart it.
Some dude might just show up at your doorstep with a snail one day and just shove it in your face.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That seems like a bad deal. All right, Bombcast, John Bomb.
Immortality sounds like a bad deal.
I think so. But then you could seek out the snail if you got once you had enough.
Yeah.
You've got an out,
Hmm.
and it's a rich snail.
You're just tears streaming down your face as you reach out one finger towards the snail, say your last word, and
Okay, here we go. Use your $100 million to build a suit out of pure salt
It's immortal.
and never take it off.
What's it gonna care about?
Yeah, but it
salt?
probably can't get through the suit.
And that'd probably still be unpleasant for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's having a bad time.
But build a house and build a fortress of salt, and never leave it.
I've already done that
Yeah.
from my days as a Street Fighter 4 online player.
All right, fair enough. Oh, bombcast.giantbomb.com. Thanks for reading some emails, as always. Well, this brings us to the end of the regular podcast.
That's right.
But the fun's not over.
That's right. If you're watching us live right now, stick around because we're gonna we're doing the post show.
You got to put the Giant Bombcast post show.
That's right.
There's going to be a post show.
Post show.
Post show.
Call-in show.
That's right. You're going to be able to hit us up on Discord. I'll be in the chat taking some questions
I'll be
out of there
manning
as well.
the stream, so when all the technical problems happen, just start screaming at me.
Yeah, and we'll put that up as an archive. You might be listening to that as an audio thing after the fact.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
we're going to put that up.
So for people already on the stream, this is going to be the same chat room, same everything. Just hang out.
Yeah,
that's
if you're
that's
listening-
Yeah, if you're a premium member and you're watching now, just hang out in the chat. We'll get I'm gonna go cram a sandwich in my face. And,
All right.
and then
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Okay, those are all good things to do before a live call-in show.
Yeah. And then we'll be back to, we can talk about the news. We can talk about
Whatever's on your
all
mind.
this Xbox One X
You
stuff.
can help us name it.
That's right. We can determine what the name of it's going to be.
That sounds like a good thing to settle right up front.
Ben's got some ideas.
Yeah. See what the people think
Yeah.
about your shitty names.
They're gonna love it.
And to be clear, this is not a one-off. Like you guys are.
And we're going to give it a show. We're going to give it a shot. See how it goes.
The intention is for this to be a weekly thing
Yeah,
after the regular
yeah.
podcast.
I think it'll be fun. We talk about stuff on the podcast and people have thoughts on it, and this will be a platform for them to talk to us about it.
Yeah. So look for the show after the show.
Mm-hmm.
After the party, it's the after party.
Right after this
And
show.
after the party, it's the hotel lobby.
Uh-huh.
Every week after the show, there will be a show after the show.
Show after the show.
Thanks for
The
listening.
show after the show.
The after show show.
Yeah.
See you there.